Okay. I haven't run the disclaimer, so hold on. Do we want the disclaimer? 3 grots. Where the fuck?
Do the disclaimer. Because otherwise it might cause Tony issues.
3 Grots in a Vox is intended for a mature audience. This means there will be crude language and discussions of adult themes, especially if we're talking about Tactical Marines or Gabriel Seth. Viewer discretion is not only advised but encouraged. All opinions are our own and often given for humorous purposes. Any advice is given largely for entertainment purposes and would probably be ignored. But if you do learn something useful, count it as a win.
How many silly names of Star Wars decks involving Rey can you think of?
Like Ray the Jedi Ray.
Yeah. Blu-ray.
Not a Jedi.
Death Ray.
Death.
Manta Ray.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Raymond.
That's the best one.
I should mute this thing. That should.
Okay. Everybody loves Raymond. I like that one.
It's bad.
Okay.
So bad. Right. We're live.
Cool.
Yay. Nobody's watching. Yay. Woo. Because we didn't tell
There we
anybody we were going live. Woo.
Ray of Sunshine for a spot of mine.
Oh, Ray of Sunshine. Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Alright, tell us what you're painting tonight. Are you drinking tonight,
Right.
Tony?
I'm going to paint tonight, actually. I haven't done it for a while, though, so let's find out if I've forgotten how to paint.
Have you
There's
forgotten how to
always that
beer?
risk. But I'm going to paint these Terminators, although I've managed to misplace the power sword off of one of them.
Okay, that's a good start.
It's not a great start.
So what are you going to do about that?
So it's kind of 4 and 1 is armless.
Oh, I'll get some alcohol. I might as well. There's no point doing
So I'm
that.
going to pour this beer, and then I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do. But
Okay.
it's been a while, so I'm
Mead,
now...
mead or scotch? What do you reckon?
I feel like you...
Nice.
Yeah.
That's,
Thursday.
for Thursday, but I like
got
the...
Big bottle of Glenlivet I got in on the off license on the way back from my guildmate earlier in the year.
I was going to say you got that from Duty Free, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
1
Duty Free.
litre. This is good stuff as well. Actually, it's quite nice.
So have you started using your wet palette yet, John?
Dude, I paint for what...
Okay.
I think I've painted once in like 2 weeks, so... Would my wet palette paint survive 2 weeks?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah, no, I haven't used it. I must admit, I've been very... I mean, I won a GT,
Did you?
so I did that.
When did that happen? I never heard.
You never heard, yeah.
Really?
It did
When did
that.
that take place?
Video, it didn't happen.
Yeah. It wasn't
Yeah,
like anything stupid, like your own event that you were running or something, because that would be highly.
Because that would be
dodgy.
embarrassing. If you turned up to your own
Yeah.
event, you put on, and then won. It's like having a raffle and winning it yourself.
Yeah. It's like
You
doing the
didn't do that, did
football,
you?
the football sweepstakes and having Spain, huh?
Uh-huh.
We're too soon for that.
What? Okay, you're trying to distract us. How's that,
Yes.
how's that going for you?
Not great.
I'm not going to get football jokes, John. I'm wrong shaped ball, mate.
Hey, somebody's in the chat. Hey, Marcus. John won. Yeah, apparently John won a GT. Nobody's ever heard of this before. It must be complete new.
Yeah. It was
Gone
fixed.
completely below the radar.
It was-
Like I say, pictures or it didn't happen.
It was fixed. Do you know what? I was actually... I streamed the final 2 games, right? I don't know if you guys know that, but I did
Yeah, I
stream.
remember,
And I think for next year I'm going to try and get like a clip-on microphone, and I definitely could have got a better camera angle. So I think if I get a better camera I think if I get a better camera angle and I get some clip-on microphones, then it's actually feasible for us to stream the top table. We weren't sure what the internet was going to be like where we hold our tournaments. So I didn't really want to invest in, like, you know... I did look at clip-on mics. Like, 2 clip-on mics is like £200. So I don't want to buy clip-on...
Genuinely, I've been looking at the same one because it's a pain in the arse having to use this desktop setup.
Mm.
And it gets in the way and it's very easy to
Okay.
touch. So I keep looking at those clip-on ones. But like you say, they're a couple of £100.
They have 7 hours of battery. So I figure if you bought them, and as long as you got them onto charge at, like, lunchtime, you could stream the final day with one set of clip-on mics. So I might try and do that for next year, and I could definitely set up a better camera angle. And
Yeah,
I'd never really streamed on my laptop before, so
This light is awful. get a bit.
Hey, people are coming into the chat now. Hello, Dagger.
We've got people
Dag.
watching this, even though we absolutely didn't plan this or
No. We
publicise it.
planned it. We didn't tell anybody it was happening.
No.
It just went on with it. So what the hell?
Well, there was a
Yeah.
confusion there because that's my fault. I thought when you said you would stream, it's all good.
No. Get it.
Right. I now have wet palette. It's got water in it. It's a bit wet. I'd normally dry it off. I forgot to bring any tissue with me, so I'm going to see what it does.
Oh, that light is bloody awful.
You can go get tissue. I think our 3 viewers will wait for you to get tissue.
I'll get some tissue.
I won't wait for you. How dare you? It's so unprofessional.
We're professional on this channel.
Won't go that far. That's better.
I still have this guy who's going. By the time I actually put any paint on him, dude, he's going to be. Well, he's kind of already fucked because Librarian Dreadnoughts don't have wings anymore, right?
Yeah, he was your no-bot Gilliman thing, was he? Or...
I have another one. I get 2 Custodes Dreadnoughts. This was one of them that.
Okay.
This one got wings. The other one got like bolters to look a bit like Robute Gilliman.
Fair
Where
enough.
did they come from?
A channel member.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
He sent me them in a diorama base as well, and
Cool.
he must have sent me them like he's like, I will never have time for these. I was like, have you met me? I've been filming every video with this. I'll get you guys some once we do the Christmas stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool.
Well,
Sure.
Christmas stream, right? I'm
Yes.
in Dubai for Christmas.
Oh, okay, then it's just
And
me and
no. Let me.
oh, go for
I
it.
fly back and I land on the 31st of December.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I will do the Christmas tree.
But you'll
Well,
be
the
more
New
fucked than
Year's Eve
usual.
But
You'll be fucked and jet lagged at the same time.
yeah,
Awesome.
so it's going to be a dangerous one. I'm not known for my filter at the best of times.
Really? Didn't know.
So that'll be
So-
laugh, won't it?
Yeah, that'll be good. I was going to say, if you drink like 10 beers on the flight,
Yeah,
then that'll be the equivalent of 20 beers, and you'll be ready for the stream.
yeah, pretty much. This is going to end awfully, and that's what makes it fun.
Do you know what I did buy since we last
What did you buy?
streamed?
Did you purchase a Victory
Model-
to GT?
Yeah, sure. I purchased models that probably I'm never getting to. I purchased Ultimate Badass Aliens expansion,
Yeah.
What the hell? Okay.
and I bought some aliens, like actual aliens for the board game.
Yeah.
And I bought this expansion, which is We're in the Pipe 5x5.
Have you seen the trailer
I
to
don't
Alien
think I know that
Romulus at all?
It's got like who was the guy that was on is it Squadmeyer or something? You remember when they get killed on the
Yeah.
Spunkmeyer.
Spunkmeyer? That's the one.
So
Yes,
I've
thank
got
you.
Ultimate Badasses, and I've got I bought the box with just computers and alien eggs in.
Oh right, cool. So I was thinking this is how I was going to start my daughter painting. We're just going to paint. We're going to spray
Yeah, I
these
mean-
aliens, and we're going to paint them with contrast paint.
Vaguely blackish.
Yeah.
So you chose an 18-rated action horror movie as the first miniatures to get your
Very small
4-year-old
daughter, yes.
daughter started on painting.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, she's seen Star Wars a few times now. I mean,
Oh, yeah, okay.
There is
all right.
there's a step
That's-
though between Star Wars and Aliens, John.
just a little bit of a step.
I
I
mean,
appreciate in the far north of Scotland that step
I mean-
might be shorter than it is for civilized parts of the country, but
to be fair, she is pretty scared at the Return of the Jedi is her favorite movie, but it is
Yep.
pretty scary when Palpatine's doing all the lightning at the end. To be honest, because she wants to always watch Return of the Jedi because of the Ewoks, but when Luke's rolling around on the floor and he's like, "Now, young Skywalker, you will die," it's pretty freaking scary for a
big
4-year-old.
old dramatic music and everything. So
Yeah.
I'd say I blame her. To be
So
honest.
she's doing well, I think.
Okay. So when your
I'm
kid
trying to think
grows
what
up
the in-between step would
traumatized
be.
and horrified of life and lightning storms and things, you'll be able to point back to this moment in your life and went,
This,
"Oh, right, yeah, this is
yeah,
how that
that's
happened."
where I traumatized my child.
Yeah.
Okay.
These two
What's the
sprues are the
in-between
same.
movie between Star Wars and Aliens?
Are these meant to be 3 different sprues, or have I mixed them
Surely
all
there
up?
must be like a 12A.
That's what I'm thinking, like maybe a 12 or a 15.
Are the Avengers movies like 12s?
No, PGs, I think, mostly.
Oh crap! These are the same sprues.
And it needs to be sci-fi.
Oh, bugger this one. Oh well.
Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers.
Yeah, how can that go wrong?
That's halfway between Aliens and.
That
What
is
about
actually-
RoboCop? I mean,
Not
the rules are that horrendously horrific, over-the-top gun violence is fine as long as there's no sex.
Starship Troopers. That's got some nakedness.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
actual, stuff going on. So maybe RoboCop would be more
I
acceptable.
mean, you can't go wrong with RoboCop, can you?
Clint says
Clint Barger says oh yeah, you've seen it. Go on.
he's never seen any of the Aliens movies.
Then why is he watching us? Go and watch the Aliens movie.
Some of them are really good. Some of them are dog shit, but some of them are really good.
Yeah.
Generally accepted wisdom is that Alien is one of the best sci-fi horror movies ever made, and Aliens is one of the best sci-fi action movies ever made, with a little bit of horror. So give them a go.
Well, the
Alien
thing
3
is with
doesn't
it,
exist,
that
Alien
like
4 doesn't
all
exist.
of them can be considered kind of zeitgeist of what they of the era that they were made in. Yeah, because you've got like Alien, which is that kind of fear of the unknown. It's the 1970s fear of the Iron Curtain, communism, things like that.
right.
Yes.
Then you've got Aliens, which is effectively a Vietnam War movie.
Right.
Then
You've
you've
thought,
got.
you've thought about this far more detail than I have.
Oh, I like this sort of thing actually. To be genuine, I find this sort of like ideas and the essays sort of idea quite interesting. Then you've got the kind of like very early 90s and that, which was a pretty depressing period.
Yeah, okay,
And
that's
you've
fair.
got the absolute bleakness that is Alien 3,
Yeah,
which is frankly so miserable. You're gonna, it's not gonna leave you in a good mood, right?
yeah, that's fair.
That is absolutely depressing. It is
Pretty
2020
horrible.
movie. And then you've got, after that, things started to brighten up in the kind of late 90s, and we had the whole New Labour thing. Everyone started getting a bit, Batman and Robin. Remember that era of silly?
Yeah,
Yes.
savage.
Alien Resurrection, which is effectively Batman and Robin with aliens.
Yeah,
You've
okay.
got the silly bits of the basketball and this sort of nonsense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the swimming underwater CGI alien bit, which is the only bit anyone remembers.
Which is bonkers. If you remember, at the same time you had Jurassic Park 3
Yeah.
with the Alan Velociraptor, and so each one of those movies was kind of like epitomizes the time that it was made. So I don't think it's entirely fair to say that they were dog shit awful. They just very clearly reflect when they were made. You can even make the argument that it carries on with Alien Covenant, which was confusing and shit, which is about the same sort of thing that was going on at the time in the world. Everything was confusing and everything was shit. Alien Romulus, also shit, made in the mid-2000s.
I watched The Predator recently. That was quite good.
The new one,
The Native American one.
that's quite good, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I did like that one as well, actually.
I always see that Facebook post about, make this you cowards, which is the whole idea of kind of a Ronin samurai hunting predators after he lost his master to a predator kind of thing.
Yeah.
I just think that would be the coolest thing ever. Feudal Japan predator.
Honestly, I'm shocked it's taken Ubisoft as long as it has to get around to doing
Assassin's Creed, yeah.
a Japanese samurai ninjas Assassin's Creed. Yeah.
The only
This
problem I've got
actually
with
should
that
be pretty cool.
is, let's be honest now, why is it still called Assassin's Creed?
Because
Because
the
it
brand
long
name.
ago got away from parkouring around, sneaking up on people and stabbing them in the neck before they see you.
Because of the power of brand names.
At this point now, it should be just called Period Piece Brawling TV Show.
I'm not
You
sure.
just wander
that-
about and stab people.
If somebody saw that name,
involved
they
anymore.
wouldn't think it was from the same series and therefore buy it if they like previous games in the series.
I love Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed 2,
Mhm.
which were proper, running around, jumping about, stabby.
Mhm.
Don't get caught because you get stabbed.
Yeah.
But now modern ones are just like no bearing on that at all.
And I prefer them, I'll be honest.
They're a lot easier.
I like the whole open world story, voice acting, immersion kind of thing with them.
The production values on them all are astounding. Apart from, what was the one that was set in France?
Oh, I don't know.
Unity.
I liked
I
Valhalla.
don't know.
That was absolute shit. That really was. That was one that they didn't make it properly, so people's faces kept disappearing. You'd end up with like disembodied eyeballs floating around and things. That was like
Odyssey
the
and Valhalla have
epitome
been
of
my
a cash grab.
favourites. The Odyssey was the Greek one, and Valhalla the Roman one. No, Viking one. The ones I've liked the most so far.
I thought I haven't played Valhalla, to be honest. I'd like to because I like that kind of theme. But I did play the Greek one, and that was quite good.
Yeah.
So I really like Black Flag, but I'm just sort of it very quickly got quite far from the kind of assassin-y part of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, you're not wrong there.
Assassin's Creed 3 is one that's much maligned, I think. Nobody really talks about that. That was quite good.
Oh, there's some news come out of AMG that might interest you, Tony.
Yeah.
They're doing their thing that they've decided to call Mini Stravaganza. Which these are people who run and do Star Wars Legion, Star Wars Shatterpoint and stuff. They've done. They're going to be doing Rogue One miniatures for Shatterpoint next year.
Oh, nice. I love Rogue One.
K2SO, Jin, Cassian.
I still haven't watched Andor, but I'll tell you what I am watching.
Yeah.
Finally, season 3 of Mando.
Oh, finally! So you've seen the finale of season 2, then?
Saw the finale of season 2, which might be some of the best television I've ever seen in my life.
I'm so happy that when that came out, I'd managed to avoid all spoilers whatsoever on release day, and I'm sat there watching it, gripping my wife's hand with a death grip, going, "Is it him? Is it him? Oh my god, is it him?" Ah!
You see the X-wing coming in, and you're like, "What the hell's next?" Hang on.
Can it be? Can they have? No, they can't have. But have they?
I was quite lucky in that because I've watched it years after everybody else.
Yeah.
There's no point being spoilery because everyone just assumes I've seen it.
Yeah.
So it was completely blind going into that. So I'm now on season 3, and I'm not. Apart from the last episode that I watched, was just the most bleak thing I've ever seen in my life.
Did you watch the Book of Boba Fett between 2
I
and
did,
3?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
I liked the
you
Book
didn't
of
miss
Boba
the
Fett. A lot of people
story
didn't like
bits,
that.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty fun.
Cool.
I liked the fact that it gave you a view of the Sand People rather than just as pointless antagonists.
Yeah, that's fair.
It gave you a bit of depth to them, and I think that was really nice. But anyway, so I watched that and I enjoyed it. And I was watching Series 3, and it felt almost like a kids' show. The tone has very much changed, and Mando seems to have gone. I noticed this a little bit in Boba Fett. He's gone from like the most badass of badass Mandalorians, like absolute one-man killing machine as he was at the end of season 2, to everybody just keeps like the bit in Boba Fett where it's just like he goes in to fight those like brigands basically, those crime things, and they just kick the crap out of him for a while, and he just about survives. You know, well, hang on, I just saw this guy kill a whole room full of highly trained stormtroopers.
Oh yeah,
and some random criminals is now causing him trouble. Why is he so useless? And that theme of being a bit pathetic and a bit crappy and needing saving every 5 minutes seems to have carried on into season 3, which is a bit disappointing. I want to see some more badass Mando rather than this come and rescue me because of funny like weird spider things got me and I need Bo-Katan to come and save me again.
So how far have you gotten in season 3 then? What was
I've just watched what might be the most depressing episode I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Which is the one, well, I don't know if it's more, but it's the one set on Coruscant with the Doctor, and it goes through his rehabilitation.
Yeah.
And then he just gets like
that's harrowing.
It's horrible. It's just horrible.
Oh, yeah. That's nasty.
I was like, this isn't matter. With the and like the baby Yoda, oh cute, he's steely thingy. No.
And then suddenly,
awful.
The New Republic is made of shit. Yes.
And this like random like torture-y bits and mind melting this betrayee guy. We knew that woman was a bit dodge.
Oh yeah.
Immediately she was shifty. But that whole episode, that whole like basically forcing him down darker and darker paths.
They both have cards in Set 2, by the way, of Star Wars Unlimited.
Sorry?
They've both got cards in Set 2 of Star Wars Unlimited.
Cool. Yeah, so that was harrowing, frankly. And I'm kind of like, I watched one episode last night, which was that one. And my wife was like, "Do you want to watch another one?" I was like, "No."
Oof. Hot take here. No hero in the series got beat up more than Daredevil in season 1. Yeah, all right, that's fair. Maybe Jack Reacher. I mean, Jack Reacher does a lot of kicking ass
Yeah,
on
but
his own as well.
Daredevil in
It's better
season
on
one,
his
yeah,
own.
he got beat up a bit, but he was again an absolute badass.
Yeah.
He really was. That season one of Daredevil
from
was.
Noble Actual, as if we know anything about Blood Angels in here, as if we've got someone who's like a GT winner or something, which apparently happened some
I
recent
don't know
times.
anything about Blood Angels.
Thoughts of 6 flame aggressors with a captain in Sons of Sanguinius, with Libby Dread to eat the squad around, or better without captain. Also, hope you're all having a good day. I'm having a okay day, thank you, Noble. Yourself? I've actually a pretty good day here with my mates and some scotch and some hobby stuff. Yeah, it's cool.
Why
6
would you
flame
bother?
aggressors
Mm-hmm.
in Sons of Sanguinius. It's a tough question, actually, right? Because aggressors
What's
are
range
good
on it?
in
12, is it?
combat.
It
They're
is
not
12.
bad in
so...
combat, but I don't think they're as good as 7 aces.
Well, you can throw them around. They can shoot stuff quite happily.
No, they're not like
The question
flamers
is,
and
what buff are you getting from the captain to make them better at the role that they're doing? And I'm not sure there really is one.
The only thing the captain could potentially give them would be really Armor of Contempt, because they probably don't need Red Rampage, right? Because they're twin-linked Strength 10 Power Fists.
Mm.
So, like, how much extra +1 to wound do you need when you're already Strength 10 and you're already re-rolling all wounds, you know?
Yeah, it makes sense. And there's limits on the characters you can attach to aggressors and that sort of heavy.
I think if you are going to be teleporting a unit around, I do think it's better that the unit has some shooting. Like, I think teleporting melee units around when you still need to make a 9-inch charge is kind of like a fool's
Yeah,
errand.
I agree.
You never want to rely on a 9-inch charge.
Yeah, if you're going to be doing it, you got to be getting some shooting out of them. Let's face it, or chucking them around into the middle of nowhere to be doing an action or something along those lines.
You know, I do like Flamestorm aggressors, but I think I just prefer them in the Firestorm detachment.
Mm.
Yeah. No, I mean, there is definitely value in...
nice because they don't need support.
Yeah.
If you're going to be throwing a shooty around, aggressors aren't the worst thing you could be throwing around. They could take a punch in return. They could charge, turn later, and do stuff. Not the worst idea in the world, certainly.
Yeah. I think...
My one overriding thought with Librarian Dreadnought, though, is like... Well, the fact you can't ever re-roll his teleport. So you almost have to play where you're not relying on his teleport, right? Because in that one critical moment where you desperately need it, that's the one time you're going to roll the 1 and it's going to screw
absolutely.
you.
It goes on often a 2, but that's still 1 in 6 that it's going to fail.
Yeah. So my experience of using him at a tournament was he did really, really well in like the first 4 games, didn't fail a single teleport. I won all my first 4 games, super happy. Get to like the big game where it's really important and I roll a 1. And I was like, I hate you, Librarian Dreadnoughts.
To paraphrase one of the best writers of all time, 1 in 6 chances sound like they don't occur very often, but magicians have calculated they crop up 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
That was the greatest author. It's like 1,000,000 to 1 chance will always happen.
Yeah. Spain.
Basically certain at that point.
Miguel says Spain.
Thanks,
Miguel.
Do
Cheers for
you
that.
want to know something funny?
Go on.
That depends if you think it's funny or if it's actually funny.
Well, you guys will get a laugh at it. It's funny. It's about football. It is about football, though.
I'm definitely not going to understand them.
I did actually put money on Scotland winning the whole Euros. Like, the whole thing. It was 200.
Right, I don't know anything about football,
that
but
does sound
even I
quite
know
funny.
that that's fairly unlikely.
Yeah.
I mean, the odds you would have got would have been spectacular.
Yeah, I got 250 to 1.
Okay, fair enough. You put, what, £2 down?
£10.
Okay, fair enough.
And then Scotland literally were the worst team at the entire tournament, so that was the equivalent of flushing £10 right down the toilet. So that was good.
You won a game, didn't you?
No, we drew a game.
Oh, right. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, we'll take the one draw that we got as a win. Yeah.
Okay. Did your captain have to quit afterwards? Because apparently England did so shit. The captain had to quit immediately afterwards after taking the England team to the final.
You know what? Our guy didn't quit, but I mean, I think most people think he should have. Low expectations in this country. But anyway, that's enough about football. Yeah.
I watch one match every like 2 or 4 years if I'm lucky, and that was that one.
I don't think
match.
I've ever seen a whole match of football.
I would have said France was worse. They got like 1 actual goal. Everything else was own goals. Own goals. Wow. Brilliant.
I generally watch the rugby if I get a chance, but I'm not like obsessive over it. I like watching the Tour de France. I always enjoy watching that. But yeah, I've never watched a whole football match. I just get bored and wander off.
So here's a question: you've been doing a lot of work at the gym, Tony, right?
Yeah.
Are you doing weight training or are you doing cardio?
Mostly weights.
Okay, because
I do cardio in my own time. I don't need to be in the gym for that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
I do like for cardio. I've got a weighted plate carrier.
I watched a really cool
like
Kurtzgazat video recently about weight loss. Some interesting things in there.
I love Kyrgyzstan. I do support them on Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I do for my cardio stuff because it's really just sort of fitness work. I just do walking with a weighted vest and that. And sometimes I do a little bit of jogging, but my knees can't take much. And then I've got my bike, so I'll do some cycling. And then in the gym, I'm mostly doing big compound movements with weights and that to try and basically build muscle mass. Muscle mass is what you need to, burn energy and do things. You can't burn fat. You can't outrun a bad diet at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So the gym makes my body more efficient. It's the diet that makes me lose weight. And unfortunately, my diet has been shite lately, so my weight loss has completely stopped.
So what Kurtzgazat say is that, generally speaking, exercise is not as big a part of weight loss as you might think. It's far more about food than exercise.
Yeah.
Obviously,
other things.
Exercise does help you spend more calories, but apparently the difference is negligible. It's more about so there's a science thing where like the human body throughout history has an energy budget that it spends throughout the day, and it's pretty consistent on how much energy it spends, whether you're exercising or not.
Yeah.
And it does that with very little variability, and this is so that people just like your body works no matter what you're doing, one way or the other. If you're exercising, a lot of the energy goes into movement, or if you're running around,
you use less elsewhere.
But if you're sat around not doing too much and doing an office job, then your body still spends the same amount of energy, but it spends it on stupid shit that it shouldn't be spending it on, like producing extra weird cells or doing other things that raise your stress levels or cause all sorts of imbalances and things.
Yeah, no, I heard that because I've been, for years now, like a whole decade, I've been doing cardio. And I hadn't really lost. I would go up and down, like my weight would still fluctuate a lot. And one of the things that I noticed, like, because I was doing more and more cardio, I was getting almost to a point where, like, I could do like a few weeks ago, maybe like 3 months ago, I was doing like 17 miles on like a Saturday and Sunday morning cardio, right? And I was like, how the frig am I doing 17 miles and not losing any weight? Well, what happens
John,
when you...
This is 3 Grots. You can say how the fuck.
Right, okay. I don't have to swear. Well, I guess I finally realised that by doing that much cardio, I'm hungry as shit. So I just end up eating a load of crap throughout the day to make up for the fact that I did 17 miles in the morning, and then there's actually no difference in my overall weight. Yeah,
apparently the body is a bit of a weird one like that, just trying to do things to make it weird.
So exercise has other benefits, but unfortunately weight loss isn't really one of them.
Yeah.
So whilst I do a lot of exercise, it's because it makes my body more efficient and it makes me healthier.
Yeah.
And it's the eating better is what made me.
The way Kurtzgazat goes into it is it says it uses energy on things that is healthy for the body to be using energy on, and makes the body just generally work better and healthier and make you feel better, which is cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there are some exceptions to that. When I did that stupid fan dance walk in Wales the other day,
hey, what?
It took me sort of like a week to recover from it.
There was a hike you did in Wales, right?
No, it was a walk. Yeah.
Okay.
Like with a lot of elevation, or just a long ass walk?
Yeah, it was a lot of elevation, and it was against the clock as well.
All right, cool.
So, because we were racing.
Did you win?
Actually, yes, we did as a team.
Oh wow, cool.
You'll noticed since Bal Red came out, the Reds at Citadel makes seem off. Hey, what?
Oh really?
What?
Miguel says, have you all noticed, or since Bal Red came out, the Reds at Citadel makes seems off? Well, Bal Red is also made by Citadel, so that...
I don't know. No, I genuinely haven't. I mean, I don't use Mephiston Red, and I don't use the other one they make. Evil Sun's
Evil
Red?
Sun? Yeah, there's Evil Sun Scarlet, and then there's one Wild Rider Red as well.
Evil Sun's got too much of an orange tone in it for me. I like a bright red, but I prefer a true red than an orangey red.
Yeah, I think if you're going to go sort of like orangey bits in it, you want to highlight up to that or dry brush or something.
So I don't highlight with orange either. So because you can of course use yellow instead of white to add to. If you use yellow instead of white to add to your reds to highlight with, it goes more towards the orange end and less towards the pink end. But I tend to go more towards the pink end of the spectrum, and then I shade with a more crimson colour because I just prefer that kind of look. But I don't use Mephiston red because it's very good at coverage. Corn red's even better, but because it's a kind of mixed pigment paint, it doesn't react very well with friends. So when you start mixing with it, it starts doing a few weird things.
Mm-hmm.
So I prefer paints that I can mix and know what they're going to do than Mephiston. I know a lot of people quite like the tone, and it is a nice tone. Kind of a slightly darkish red. Corn red, on the other hand, I do use quite a bit because I think that's a really great base color to build into red.
So my main red I used to use was the Dragon Red spray from Army Painter, but I've had some bad cans of Army Painter spray recently, to the point where I thought, you know what, no, I'm not having you anymore. I'll spend a few more quid and get Games Workshop spray paints because they never go wrong, which is a shame, but that's how it works. So I've moved on to Mephiston Red spray paint as my base spray, and yeah, it works okay.
It looks all right. It's just like I say, my big issue with it is it doesn't mix very well.
Yeah, that's fair.
So the two reds that I tend to use, other than I do love Bar Red because it's basically an ink, is
Bile Red's the
contrast.
The contrast one, yeah, that makes sense.
So this is the red from Chimera, and that's got a fantastic tone to it.
Yeah.
Then you've got Blood Red, which is slightly oranger.
Yeah.
And then Deep Red, that's a slightly more Mephiston one. But they're true reds, so I rather like these two AK versions. And then what's the other red that I sometimes use? I'm trying to remember what it was. These are my three main ones that I use, to be honest, because I just really like the fact that they still mix quite well. This Chimera one's a single pigment, so it doesn't do anything
well
you're not expecting to do.
Starts doing weird things. Never been.
The scale color reds are a little bit annoying, but the scale color red ink is very nice. They do a deep crimson ink, which is actually what I used on these guys. And
so we need to rename you Marcus the Bile Red, basically. Is that what we're saying?
Sorry, I don't understand.
That's right. I'm responding to chat.
Sorry, I can't see the chat, so I'm.
Marcus has the Geiger counter has replied saying doesn't work well with friends, starts doing weird things. I've never been so called out in my life. So clearly we need to change his nick to Marcus the Bile Red.
Fair enough. But yeah, so I just think that the
Red or whatever
the Citadel Reds don't mix so well, apart from Corn Red, coincidentally, which works very well.
Mark,
really
have
Corn Red's an excellent one.
Tried any of the Colour Forge sprays yet?
Me? No.
Yes.
Only the black and white.
Because they have like a match for Mephiston Red.
Do they?
Yeah.
So I try not to change sprays too much because I like spray paints looking like what I'm used to them looking like. And so when a range changes or a colour changes or goes away or becomes a different name or slightly different mix, it really pisses me the fuck off. But if they've actually colour matched one of them, then that might be worth a go.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I've got some models that are sprayed with Mephiston Red that are right next to the.
Yeah.
I think
it is a bit cheaper as well, that Colour Forge stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, the way I do it, I do the base spray of the red, and then I do an ink wash of Caribou Crimson over it anyway, and that sort of brings it down to a similar sort of colour gradient in the end, regardless. So.
Well, I was going to say, if you know anything about Scottish people, we are the tightest bastards in the world. So that's what I've got.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sanguine red is what they call it. But you can see from the shade there, it's very Mephiston, sort of like darker red. I've used it a few times. Like, I think the last 2 cans of red I've bought have been that. Maybe, do you know what, if you show you the nozzle.
Drop me that in the chat or something.
See the nozzle colour there? Can you see it?
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
It's very similar. Maybe it's... But yeah, so I've moved to this just because... I think the Citadel ones are almost 15 or 16 pounds now. These are 12, and you get 100 mils more, so they're 25% bigger, and you get a bit more. And
Which is totally fair. The other good thing about workshop sprays that I can never argue with is they always work. I've never had an
except for
issue with one.
Retributor armor, which is a fucking nightmare. It costs more money, and the bastard, the last one I bought, and it's a right cloggy, sticky mess.
I've never had a problem with it.
Crap,
Fair enough.
I'm biased. I've only ever bought one can of not
Yeah.
black or white Citadel paint, and it was that one. It was awful.
Oh, I've had a few cans of Retributor. They've been all right for me.
I've not had an issue with them. Maybe
To be
it's
honest,
you,
I don't
Tony.
use coloured paint.
Maybe the problem is in the
cans.
mirror. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't catch that, mate.
Maybe the problem's in the mirror.
Oh right, yes, maybe. I'm sure it was user error, but it didn't work for me, and I just don't buy coloured paints. I just buy black and white for spray.
That's fair. I mean, I don't airbrush, so I'm far
Yeah,
more
well,
interested in
that's the
spray
thing.
cans than otherwise.
But, to be honest, even before I used to airbrush, I never really used to use the coloured ones. I just always found that I preferred the finish when I built it up from black, and then I started playing with Zenithal for a while and building up from that. And I just preferred the finish. Took longer, but
No, that's fair.
like the look of it.
That's totally fair.
Yeah. Oh, I'm definitely looking forward to the boarding actions book.
Yeah, should we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, go for it. Oh, somebody posted in the Three Grots chat saying that they'd stolen your terrain and played a game with it and had a really good game.
It was Big Grim.
It was Kev last night, yeah, because he asked me. He asked me if he could borrow the terrain. I was like, dude, I bought it for everybody to use. It's not like my terrain or whatever. Just knock yourself
Even
out.
though it's literally your terrain, but yeah.
Yeah. I leave it in the place where
I know,
we play,
I
right?
get you.
It's the same with mine, whereas mine lives at where we play games. I don't keep it at home because, and the same with a lot of my army stuff. I just let other people use it if they want it.
Yeah.
I'm really not that precious over it.
I think it's good to be like that. So yeah, he lost again, Kev, apparently, but he said he's super excited about. Well, I mean, I think
getting a full set of working 10th Ed boarding action rules and detachments for every army and all this sort of stuff, needing everything in one place, having no weird pissing around with looking all the different mini.
I'm definitely
sticking all
excited
the things. Yeah,
I actually think we did a whole episode where we complained the fact that there wasn't like amalgamated boarding actions book, right?
We did.
I mean, we did other things in the episode as well, but we talked about how good it was, and then we complained that there wasn't a version of it yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was thinking we could cut a little bit of that video to, like cut a bit where Games Workshop stole our idea.
I mean, we
recommend
could.
watch us and go, oh, hang on, those guys have got some good ideas.
We could. It'd be lying, but we could. Yeah.
Is it a bit like that time that I made a video and then Allspecs made the same video a week later?
Yeah, I mean, I've done that.
I went on a rant that Allspecs has stolen our video.
Yeah. I mean,
because he definitely watches our channel and would know that.
Absolutely. No, he watches BAC or he follows BAC or something because apparently BAC won a grand tournament or something and Allspecs covered him. Apparently
covered it.
Apparently BAC is a big deal or something.
To be fair, I did email him that I won the tournament.
Okay.
But he did actually thank me because he said, like, most of the time when he does those videos where he's like picking all the tournaments, no one tells him anything about the lists. Okay. So I sent him like a paragraph or two on like why I took out riders and stuff. Oh, cool. So he said thank you for that, which was kind of cool.
He always seems like a nice guy. He's another person that I do support on Patreon.
Yeah, no, I said to him if he wants to come on my channel and play a game, that would be fine. And if he was worried about his anonymity, we could like get one of those like Darth Vader helmets for him or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Can we give him a pixelated face, Top Gear style?
Yeah, like or just get like the Stig's helmet, huh?
Yeah.
He just has to play 40k in a full face mask racing car helmet.
How can that go wrong? Is he worried about anonymity?
I don't know. I was just joking because I just call him Mr. Auspex Tactics. Yeah, because I didn't know what to call him, so I think I wrote Dear Mr. Auspex Tactics.
Did he tell you his name? I'm not going to ask you what it is. I'm just curious. Did he like sign the email with his name or something?
He did sign the email with his name, yeah.
Awesome.
So I guess if you're so inclined to email him, he will tell you his name. Super secret.
Oh yeah, he sounds really bothered about anonymity.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing, but I actually think probably like if he did some videos with his face in it, you'd get more. Because they always say on YouTube, if your face is in the thumbnail, you get more clicks. It's like a known thing on YouTube. Do what, sorry?
There's a reason that we don't put my face on any thumbnails, and that's
Okay.
because then people wouldn't watch it. Because nobody wants to look at that for too long.
I think you're selling yourself short, mate, but fair enough.
I always think it's really corny though when you put your face on the thumbnail, you know, because you've got to do these stupid
Like,
expressions.
"Hey!"
Yeah, and then if I do a stupid expression on a thumbnail, next time I come on the 3 Grots, you're literally wearing a T-shirt with my face on it from my damn thumbnail. So I've got that to look forward to, you know.
No, it's true. I absolutely will do that.
So that's why we need you to do like 50 thumbnail faces, and the next time we come on an episode, me and Mark will be wearing T-shirts of your face. Then we can be like,
played on a stream a few months ago. Crispy Delicious says that they never showed his face. He cares about his anonymity. Okay, fair enough.
there you go. There you go then. What stream did you play on?
Hey, didn't he play on Mordy and Glories?
If there's a reply, I'll let you know.
Okay.
I think I'm pretty sure he's played Mordy and Glory.
Oh,
Because that's another channel I quite like.
yeah, so looking forward to boarding actions, and I guess I'm looking forward to the next Blood Angel Codex because
Are you excited for our tournament in November?
yeah, I'm worried that everything we planned is going to change like 4 times before we get there.
Oh, absolutely. I'm painting terminators at the moment for that tournament, but by the time I actually finished them, they changed.
Yeah.
Because I wanted some of the nice new ones.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't actually got any of my nice new Terminators painted yet.
Why
Take
not?
it they're
Still
quite
don't
nice.
get my old ones.
I was going to say, I take it they're quite nice to work with, are they?
They're very nice, yeah. They're very nice to paint as well. They're nice, crisp detail. These are the ones out of Leviathan, but I've got a set of the ones from the multi-part kit.
Oh, you bought the multi-part kit as well, did you?
Multi-part new ones as well, and they're very nice.
They come with a cyclone missile launcher, yeah?
Yeah. The multi-part ones do. The Leviathan
Yeah,
ones.
the Leviathans don't. No.
Yeah. Was it
Honestly,
Cyclone
can't
Missile
remember. I
Launcher?
think he was playing
sorry.
Imperial Guard. That's right. Crispy Delicious says he honestly can't remember. He thinks they were playing Imperial Guard.
Yeah, I
That's
think
it.
that was Morty.
Probably Morning Glory then. Is the cyclone missile launcher just scaled up a little bit to match the model, or is it any different?
From memory, it's just a little bit bigger.
Okay.
I'm sure there's some slight tweaks to the detailing, and
Yeah.
like that, but functionally, it's pretty much the same.
It's pretty much the same. Okay. I do like Terminators with a cyclone missile launcher. It's always very iconic. I remember back in the day, it was
And
like
a chainsword. And
you know, when you
get
first
that
saw the
one Terminator, yeah, where you get the cyclone missile launcher and an assault cannon and a chain fist all on that one Terminator that you're building. And that's totally illegal. You can't do that.
Yeah. Well, it was totally legal then as well, but because you used to get I've got the metal cyclone missile launcher, and it had this weird scanner pistol thing.
That's what I was
yeah.
going to ask. Did you not have to buy the Terminator with the cyclone missile launcher as a single in a blister
Oh,
pack?
yeah, he was a single metal miniature.
Yeah, because it was like when someone came to the tournament or someone came to play you with it, you were like, oh shit, he's got a cyclone missile launcher. Because, like, you know, I don't know, back in the day, I guess a £10 blister sprue was pretty unobtainable for most of us.
Well, that's because these days that'd be like 35
40
quid. Or
quid,
something,
yeah.
wouldn't it?
Yeah, no doubt, right?
Primaris Lieutenants are 25 quid each.
Yeah.
Yeah, single plastic model, all that. Not even metal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, and it's all rantiness because I'm so cheerful. But the price is, it's ironic because when I was a kid, I remember looking at model kits and going, "Oh, well, one day I can afford that Land Raider."
Yeah.
And it was £35 that Land Raider kit, and it's now the same Land Raider kit, and it's like 80. So ironically, I'm now an adult with a full-paying job, and I still can't afford the Land Raider.
Well, we did that to ourselves, Tony, by having kids. You know that?
Yeah, so they tell me.
The best definition I've ever heard of adulthood is you can have ice cream for breakfast, dinner, lunch, literally every meal of every day if you want to, but you're the person who's got to pay for it.
Can't actually imagine having ice cream for breakfast.
It sounds very American to me. I can see them having like bacon, pancakes, and ice cream all on the same plate for breakfast.
Well, that's because you two are sort of responsible people who will have kids and contribute to the future of society and all this shit, whereas I'm not. I'll just like do what I want. And
You'll just have ice cream for
money on hobby
breakfast.
shit. Yeah. And never grow up like a complete moron.
What do you have for breakfast, John?
What do I have for breakfast? Yogurt and granola.
I quite like a yogurt and granola for breakfast as well.
Coffee. Sometimes I put I usually buy frozen fruit and then put that in with it.
Yeah,
as well.
put it on your granola. I've been experimenting with overnight oats.
Overnight
With a bit of
oats.
frozen fruit in it lately.
What's the difference between them and oats?
Well, you put them. You mix your overnight oats. I have fitnessy things, but I have my oats, and then I have oats mixed with a bit of protein powder, some frozen fruit, a protein yogurt, and then a little bit of water, and then you sort of mix it all up and put it in the fridge overnight, and then you have it the next day, and it softens it all down.
Oh, that's
very nice.
Cool.
Okay.
So
you turn it into baby food.
Well, it's still got oats and stuff in it, and berries and that floating around.
Mhm.
But it goes quite thick.
You turn it into
And
RoboCop food.
that's very tasty.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no,
Well,
I've been doing the
a
yogurt and
nice
granola
sourdough.
for a while. I tell you one thing that I eat every day and I fucking hate. I hate them more than life itself, but I eat it every day. Bananas.
Why do you hate bananas?
I don't know. There's something about
so
the texture
If you hate
of them.
them so much, why do you eat them every day?
Because they're really healthy and they're good for potassium. But I fucking hate them. I don't know how to describe how much I hate banana. And my wife asked me the exact same question, like, why do you eat that every day? And I was like, because it's really healthy. She's like, but you fucking hate it. And I was like, yeah, but it's really healthy.
No, I'm with your wife on this, John.
Okay, yeah. Well,
They're all right. I mean, they're fairly healthy, but there are other healthy foods.
so one of the differences between you and me is you're going to die thinking, oh shit, I spent my life eating this food that I really, really hate because it was a bit healthier at the time. And I'm going to die thinking, I just ate what I wanted and had a great time.
I'm not going to think about anything. I'm going to die in a fireball.
Okay.
There'll
Well,
be no time for thinking.
True. I never thought of it that way, Mark, but thanks for making me doubt my choices even more every day when I'm eating this fucking banana and be like, why do I even bother with this shit?
Were you eating a banana when you were skateboarding and had your accident?
To help him repair from the accident.
I've eaten it every day for like 10 years, honestly. But I'm not, like, I don't eat apples, I don't eat pears, I don't...
I eat shed loads of fruit. I really do.
Oh, fuck this.
I love fruit.
Mixing them up. This is not good.
Like stacks and stacks of it. Strong coffee and fruit is pretty much how I get through my day.
I've been sat on these Wraith Guards since before the range refresh in Midnight Edition, waiting to do them.
Why have you not done them?
Sorry?
Why have you not done them?
Because they were a meta choice, and they were like, if you want to win, take a brick of these, and they just kill things really, really hard. I don't want to be that guy.
You know what? That's the kind of approach that I can appreciate, Mark. So I'm the sort of person that if something becomes meta, I won't use it.
You know, I was watching Liam Dempsey this morning, and he was saying, like, can you actually have fun in 10th edition of 40k? Like, because, like, can you just go to a tournament and have fun? And I was thinking to myself, like, yeah, of course you can go to a tournament and have fun. Like, I played...
It all depends about the attitude you go with.
Yeah. I played against a guy who brought 120 boys on a Stomper. And honestly, it was the most fun game ever. It was the stupidest game ever. But we had the most fun. And, like, in the middle of turn 2, he just literally, like, the whole hall... He just screams at the top of his voice. He's like, "Whoa!" And I was like, "Oh shit! Here come 120 boys." But it was brilliant. It was brilliant.
I've got talking to people at tournaments and made friends and kept those friends over the years.
Yeah.
I mean, admittedly, I've played some utter assholes as well, but them's breaks.
So we had that guy. He actually beat a few people as well, because you need to be organised to beat 120 boys. It's not, like they're basically going to move forward into no man's land turn 1, and you know exactly what's coming. He's literally the start of turn 2. Every single game is just going to shout "wah" and advance and charge on you, and if you can't deal with 120 boys in your face, you're going to have big problems. And he actually beat Andrew's Eldar just because Eldar don't do so well against 120 toughness 5 bodies.
A lot of swampy chargy things, yeah, that's fair.
I feel happier when Eldar lose than when Tau lose.
Hold on, no. Let's be a bit more specific. Is it Eldar or Eldar players?
Probably Eldar players, let's be frank.
Yeah, that's fair. Marcus, a Geiger counter, says, John, stop eating them while looking in the mirror.
I had an Eldar player comment on my GT win. Did you see it? It was the best comment
No.
ever.
What was it?
His comment was something. His name was Warp Spider, and he said, and like he was that video had like 538 likes and one dislike. So the one guy that put the dislike said, "You shouldn't be proud of this. It's common knowledge. Blood Angels are overpowered at the moment."
An Eldar player said that.
I sent it to Miles and was like, "Look at this bitter Eldar player."
That is quite funny.
Oh god.
Talking of paints that I love, this one.
What's
This
that?
Chimera Magenta is one of the most beautiful colours. I don't know how well it's coming through on the camera, but look at this when I sort of spread it out. Look at the tones in there.
Magenta fanboy, aren't you?
It looks like
Beautiful colour.
I was going to say it's a bit like Screamer Pink, is it?
It's a bit like sort of like halfway between Baraknar Burgundy and Screamer Pink.
Yeah.
But it's another single pigment paint, so there's only magenta pigment in there.
I see.
And it mixes beautifully with basically anything to make an immune. I mean, look, so I've got a bit of ivory on here, and I've got my magenta, and look, just mixing these two colours, you get you like the strongest, beautiful pinks and that out of that. Look at that, absolutely gorgeous.
Okay.
Gorgeous paint.
Have you put brush to model yet this evening?
Yeah, you know I have.
I've not been watching.
Well, that's all right. I'm not that excited. Look, I've painted some Crux Terminators.
Okay, cool. I've clipped some things out, some sprues.
And now I'm going to do some. I'm just getting some paint mixed down, but I'm going to do some purity seals.
Cool.
Have you guys pre-ordered Space Marine 2 yet?
No.
No.
Are you going to?
No.
Oh, you're not really?
I'll buy it, but I'm not going to pre-order it.
I don't pre-order digital games because what am I pre-ordering for? To make sure they don't run out of stock.
Occasionally, you get a good pre-order incentive or bonus that occasionally makes it worthwhile. But otherwise, you're not pre-ordering it to guarantee that you get it, are you? I mean,
No, I never thought of it that way.
I don't want to reward that behaviour from publishers.
Hello, Ryan. I mean, the only reason I would pre-order it is, like, if I had the money now, for example, like, if we get paid and then I want the money to go out the credit card when I choose, I would pre-order it and then I'll know I'll be getting it, right? No, I'm not really pre-ordering it for anything else than my sanity knowing that it's bought.
Mate. You do you.
I don't want to risk also, because this is another thing that publishers were doing, was they were releasing games, big old pre-order bonuses and that on them, that were unfinished and didn't work properly. So what you're effectively doing is paying a lot of money for a beta, looking at you, Cyberpunk, and that's behaviour that I choose not to reward. You know, if your game comes out and the reviews are good, then I'll buy your game. Yeah, if it looks good, it's not a broken, buggy mess.
So the next Warcraft expansion, War Within, is due out towards the tail end of August, and it's the first part of a 3 expansion overarching story they're doing, where they wrap up 20 years of Warcraft, and it sounds like really cool. It could be a great idea. It could do really, really well. But for the first time, Activision Blizzard doing something different with their pre-ordering and buying of the expansion. And whether they'd have done this on their own or whether it's a symptom of the fact they've been bought out by Microsoft that has done this. But as part of the Super Mega Ultra bundle, so pre-ordering costs like 40 quid for the expansion, which is okay.
It's a lot for expansion.
If you pay 80 quid for the expansion, then you get all this free cosmetic stuff. You get a month's worth of free game time, which is worth about a tenner. And you get to play the expansion 3 days before everybody else. Which, with a permanently online MMO, where there's leveling races and all this sort of stuff going on, playing the game 3 days early.
Yeah, it sucks.
This is the sort of practice that I don't want to reward. I know it's limiting me. Let's say in that respect, it limit me. I was behind the curve, but I'll take behind the curve to not reward that kind of quite crappy business practice because those guys take it really seriously.
Oh yeah,
and so that's really pressuring them to give you more money for what is effectively the same product.
It's far too close to pay to win.
Yeah. Yeah, I really
Really?
don't like that sort
So,
of behaviour.
what's the community saying about that? We're going to answer the questions in chat in just 1 second. Sorry.
They say they absolutely hate it. How dare you? Here's my money.
Okay, so like people are still
as a
pre-ordering it pretty
general
hard, are they?
Because they need it if they're
because
if they're that invested in the game,
Yeah, they don't want to get left out, or they don't want to get left behind.
which is why I think it's so disgusting, to be honest.
Hi there, Ryan. Nice to see you here this evening. Kyle Robichaud says, "What are you working on, John?" And that's bad behaviour. That said, the first week of the expansion is kind of dead time. Well, it's not. It's when you level.
Yeah, I mean they don't open the raids and stuff straight away in WoW, so it might not be super.
You level, you get your dungeons, you get a little bit of gear ready for the raids, and you get professions all leveled up and geared. And if you want to make money, the initial few weeks when people are doing that stuff is when you want to farm all the materials and get them all selling because people will buy them to level up all the shit.
So I have these models for years now, Star Wars Legion models.
Mm-hmm.
I never paint them on my Blood Angels Commander stream. So sometimes when we were hanging out painting here, it's nice to have a little change.
Cool.
So I'm painting a Tom. I've got a Rebel Alliance squad from the planet of Hoth, and I've got some Mandalorians as well. Actually, Clan Ren Mandalorians.
Oh, nice. Oh, the Mandalorian deck is looking like a very cool idea in SWU.
I don't know how strong it's going to be.
It's not going to be meta, but I think it's going to be fun.
I'm going to build one, and it's entirely because Mando is cool,
Yeah.
Grogu is cute, and you sent me that really beautiful Mandalorian card, so I just want to use it.
And
That's
Moff Gideon as well, but yeah.
Sorry?
And Moff Gideon as well, but yeah.
And Moff Gideon's an amazing looking thing as well, because I did think, of the two, Moff Gideon I think is more powerful. I think his ability is quite powerful. He's also a good aspect being green, and you could make quite a nasty, quite aggressive, almost green aggro deck out of it.
Potentially. I mean, it's all focused on board control because the attack bonus only works when you're attacking other units rather than attacking the enemy base, but yeah.
True, but I think that could be quite a powerful deck.
That's fair.
But I'm not building that. I'm building a Mando one because Mando's cool, and I'm only going to put Mandalorians in it. Silly, weird Mando-style starfighters and upgrades.
I tell you, I must admit, I was very happy to pull that hyperfoil Mandalorian card.
Oh yeah, look really cool, mate. Absolutely.
Really pretty. I'd love one of those.
I mean, I went straight on eBay to just look at the cost, and it was somewhere. Yeah, it's probably like $200, man, if it's in mint condition.
It's not the most expensive legendary hyperfoil, but it's a very nice one regardless.
What's the most expensive legendary hyperfoil? Is it still Vader?
It's either Vader or Luke, one of the two.
Is the Crate Dragon not popular?
Crate Dragon is popular. He's one of the two more popular and expensive ones in the new set, alongside Poe Dameron, who is such a meta choice for one of the most powerful meta decks in the game.
So I got the hyperfoil Snoke, and I checked that one out on eBay, and that's about 150 quid or something.
Snoke is also a
very, very powerful
super
cool
meta choice as well, yeah.
Yeah. That was my fancy pack. Pull out of that.
Are you going to play with the hyperfoil? When are you going to get it rated?
I'm just going to sell it, because he's worth another box of cards.
Yes, fair.
See, I was going to rate
I've got no attachment to almost any of these characters.
So I thought you said you were going to keep the hyperfoil Luke just for...
I'm keeping hyperfoil Luke because I like my hyperfoil Luke. I like Luke as a character, but I could care less about Snoke.
No, well, that was the thing I thought about pulling Mandalorian is that like I just thought people would want Mando because he's so iconic.
I'd like a Mando because I think Mando is cool.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. Yeah. So I thought he might sell for more just because he's Mando, so might be worth grading him.
He's not a meta card, but potentially.
But
the
just thing I don't like about grading is once you do that, it's locked in that funny clear plastic case.
Yeah, unless it's a leader or a base, and why would you ever grade a base? It's not really worth it, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know you can't play with them, but some people like to collect Star Wars cards. If you go back to the Kenner models and shit, people would go crazy for like...
even the old 90s Decipher Star Wars card game. There's still people collecting that stuff.
I'm not sure I like the kind of grading culture that's developed over the last couple of years.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
And I'll tell you why. And so one of my other hobbies, not that I spend a lot of time on it these days, is I collect vintage retro video games.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And a few years ago, there was this big article in like all the major newspapers, and it was talking about a copy of Super Mario, and it's selling for like £1 million.
Oh yeah. I vaguely remember.
And I've got loads of copies of Super Mario. I've got Super Mario copies coming out of my ears. And the problem is that that's because I'm a retro gamer and I like retro games. Now, there was a few American companies that were signed up. Well, one of the big famous ones, I can't remember the name of it, but it's the big company that does all the grading. Now, the way they charge for your grades and things was it was based on what grade the material got.
Right.
Okay? So they were charging more by grading higher, effectively. Well, it also turned out that they were very sneakily under the table linked with the big auction house selling these games for millions.
Right, okay.
So what they were doing was grading things incredibly highly, artificially pumping the cost up and auctioning them, and then they were selling like shares in them to investors who had no interest in video games, but they started selling part shares in rare video games as an investment opportunity for wankers. And that's what they're doing. So what it ended up doing was massively artificially inflating the value and the market for retro video games, because all these people who weren't even interested in it and were doing it as financial investing, coupled with making money out of these auction houses, all owned by the same person, was just artificially pumping up the cost to make the value of these trays more and more ridiculous. And it priced all the people who just like playing old video games because they played them as kids and like old video games completely out of the market. So I used to be able to pick up Game Boy games cheap. I used to play them. I used to share them. I used to sell them on whatever. And then all of a sudden, games that I used to buy for a fiver was suddenly £150, £250. I looked the other day because the only Resident Evil game I don't have is an N64 copy of Resident Evil 2. And a copy of that in box, which I'd like because it's cool having the box and the original like manual and stuff like that. I can't get for less than £500 now.
I remember reading something somewhere, which I always think of in situations like this, which is a phrase from a character in a book who said, never met a person with money who didn't step on somebody else to get it.
Yeah, so what they did was they killed the retro gaming hobby largely because they turned it into an investment business for bankers. And the same thing, so whenever I see those graded cuts, it's the same company that does them, I just think how they destroyed that hobby completely. And then they work really hard to try and encourage people to, well, why? What value do you get? Okay, well, I'm going to seal your card in plastic so you can't play with it anymore.
Clint says it's really popular with Magic the Gathering at the moment, which doesn't surprise me. And Magic and Hasbro have lent into it as well with the kind of cards and sets and things.
And it's because they've got this investment culture to it, which is incredibly anti-player.
Get some more sales,
but they don't care because they just make more money. So yeah, I really have a serious issue with those companies.
I've missed one. I've left one on the sprue like a complete fucking moron.
But yeah, sorry, I'll get off my ranty high horse for that one. But it just upset me because I was a big part of that community for years, and it basically killed it.
No, that's fair, man. I hadn't really thought of it like that. I mean, I thought of like grading Mandalorian probably to sell him and make money, and then, like there you said, buy more boxes. Though, like I wouldn't be selling them to just be like put the money in my pocket.
Well, the aesthetic version of the card does nothing different game-wise. So if there's somebody who'll buy it for you and you can get more stuff to have a more fun game, then cool.
Yeah.
You're not doing it to grow wealth and put it in the hands of the 1% and then stash it in a freaking tax haven somewhere, are you, mate? Come on.
Well, like I said, I'm probably going to sell that Snoke card so that I can make some money and buy another box of cards.
Yeah, that's why I'm considering selling Hero. Like I was going to sell, not in the Hero Quest. Sorry, I've got Space Crusade still sealed.
Any of you 6 people in the chat know about Star Wars Unlimited at all? New card game? What we're sort of talking about here? I have no idea if any of you do, or if you're just like talking shit.
What are these gentlemen talking about? They should be talking about Warhammer.
Woo, yeah.
Well, I was going to say my second love is Star Wars, but like 1970s Star Wars, not so hot in the new stuff.
Definitely 1970s Star Wars is the. Well, that's why I don't go about this stuff and set.
We're not going to go
90
down the rabbit hole. We're just going to
Yeah.
pretend nothing new really except The Mandalorian was made. Oh, and maybe
I
Rogue
liked
One and
Book of Boba
Andor.
Fett. I thought that was fun. I liked it. Nobody
You'll
else
like,
seemed to.
you'll
I liked
like
it.
Andor when you watch it, I think. I really enjoyed
I think
Andor.
I will, yeah. I really liked Rogue One.
You know, not Smeagol, but yeah, Smeagol's in it.
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis. He's amazing in it, by the way.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah,
plays-
he's so
But
good.
hang
in
on,
it.
Andy Serkis is amazing in everything he's ever been ever.
Yeah,
Really?
exactly. Yeah.
Even Snoke.
I don't know. I don't remember that movie.
Okay, fair enough. That's probably for the best.
I mean,
Was he in there under all that CGI?
I actually don't think he was bad as Snoke. Just one director decided he didn't want Snoke in his movie. So
I think the problem with that is it's not that he was bad as Snoke or anything else. It's because it's that Snoke itself was a stupid idea, and as was the rest of that movie. Because that was the one where we had the hyperdrive wipes out a fleet and Princess Leia can fly, isn't it?
That was weird. Clint
Yeah.
says he has it, but we've had supply issues, which are international at the moment. You do have a foil Palpatine from the first set. Is that Palpatine the leader or the unit? Because if you've got a foil Palpatine leader, then that's a showcase one, and that's pretty badass.
And that's serious. That's worth serious money. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, it's very pretty. But the red foil Palpatine, the unit, is also pretty awesome. Very cool.
It's hard to get those legendary foil cards, man. Like you open 20 odd packs and you get one legendary foil
Well,
if you're
foils,
lucky.
I was saying one legendary foil out of 20 packs is pretty
The leader,
good.
you've got to showcase Palpatine. Grats, dude. Well done. That's very cool.
That's what you should get graded.
cool.
And here's the thing about getting the showcase ones graded for the leaders. You can actually still play with them, right?
Oh yeah, totally. Because you don't need to shuffle them in your deck at all.
Yeah. You should if it's mint condition, dude. You should get it graded. You could literally sell it and buy 10 more 10 more boxes of 24 boxes, probably. You know what I'm saying? So in those 240 new boxes, you probably pull something else you could sell.
Well,
and
don't
then
keep it. 'Cause it's awesome and you're a fan. Whichever. I mean, you do you.
That's
Jim
true.
Carroll says, "Hello, Grots. Hello, Jim.
How you doing? Hope you're having a nice evening.
Yeah. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. I've successfully cut out 45 small bits of plastic.
So do you know you were saying that I need to find a movie between Star Wars and Aliens for my daughter?
I mean,
to
I already
watch?
found it. It's Starship Troopers, but yeah.
Well, I was
which we kind of rejected due to the nudity and sex, but yeah, okay, fine.
the movie I think that I'm wanting to show her next, but I think I've got to wait till she's 7 or 8. Is I want to do Lord of the Rings. I think 7 or 8 is probably
skip the Hobbit movies, pretend they
Yeah,
don't exist.
they were ropey.
But yeah, I think Lord of the Rings is just maybe I think at 10 years old you'd really enjoy Lord of the Rings. Maybe you were offered $600 for it. That seems not bad.
Yeah,
I bet you if you
good.
graded it, you'd offer a little bit more than that.
So I've seen graded 10 Boba Fett showcase leaders go for $1,200.
Yeah,
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
for one card. Yeah, but I mean that buys you how many more packs? Literally 200.
If that's what you want, yeah.
200.
So having bought set 2, I'm very firmly now of the opinion that 4 boxes worth of boosters is the sort of the right ratio for me, because after that I've got a full set of commons, full set of uncommons, enough rares to be getting on with, and some trades, and a decent base of legendaries. Anything beyond that, 14 cards out of 16 of every booster, I'm just not looking at, and I'm putting straight in the trade pile.
And they don't trade very well because they're commons and uncommons, I'm guessing.
Yeah, although I'm going to start putting together play sets of commons and uncommons to sell, because people will buy them if they want to get into it. There's supply issues and whatnot.
Yeah, I set mine up and then I gave them all to the kids. In fact, you gave me a load, didn't you, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I gave them to the kids, and what they do is they'll play unlimited, but they'll just play with commons and uncommons.
Yeah,
mostly commons. And actually, there's a lot of fun in that. Just playing, so they're using 50 card decks of only commons.
Yeah. And you're missing some of the horrifically crazy. They're not overpowered. They're just niche powered.
It does make it relatively balanced.
This is balanced in a different way. It's more like seal play, because in seal play you got to appreciate the commons and uncommons a lot more, because you get a lot more of them. But they play in a lot more variety of decks, whereas rares and legendaries are a lot more sort of niche in how you can use.
even my deck, my set one is very budgety in that. I think I do have a legendary because I've got aggression, but that's the only one I've got in there. It's all commons, uncommons, and a few rares. Because I haven't got the money to compete with the like hyper legendary decks that people are buying.
I suppose it just depends on how hard you're going on the game, right? Like if you're just, I think Mark's going the hardest on the game out of the three of us. But that's
absolutely.
Fine.
It's kind of no contest in there. Yeah,
Not
absolutely.
even close, is it?
I would think I would have gone a little bit harder if there was any tournaments for set one within like 100-mile drive of me, because I really would have liked to go to at least one event. I really like the seal play format. I did it before in Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
And I've been to like the best tournament I ever went to for Magic the Gathering. I think I finished third or something. Like I definitely almost won it. And my strategy was like, I'm just going to pick this was one of the ones where when you opened the pack, you were allowed one card, and then you had to pass like the 14 remaining
draft format.
Yeah. I picked every single weedy green and white creature, and just went like absolutely at you with green and white, like 1/1s, 2/1s, 1/2s, and just like I'm just going to rush you down with shitloads of little greens and.
So
did
seal
really well,
play
you
in
know?
Star Wars Unlimited is done with 6 boosters, and you take your 6 boosters and you try and build a 30-card deck out of them. Draft is done with 3 boosters because the idea is that you're able to target a lot more things to put into a deck. So it's a lot cheaper a format to play sealed with if you're drafting.
Have you played a draft event?
I've always liked just sealed. I love playing sealed. I won a couple of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sealed tournaments many years ago.
Poor format arrangement. Yeah. There was a poor format commons and uncommons tournament here in the UK for Star Wars that happened earlier in the year. I didn't get to go to that one, unfortunately, because something else was on at the time. But yeah, we like it.
Here's a question. I know that you will already have your tickets, Mark. If you don't have your tickets, then I will be super surprised.
For what?
Are you going to see Deadpool 3?
Oh, I've had my tickets for weeks, mate.
Okay, I'm trying to get...
On the day that tickets booking opened up weeks ago, I'm going to go see the midnight screening a week from now. A week from now, I will have seen it, yeah.
I'm going on release day as well.
How are you?
Got my tickets. I don't get tickets very often for anything like that, but my friend sent me a text and he goes, look, we haven't been to cinema for a while. Do you want to come on release night for Deadpool 3? And I was like, do you know what? Yeah. And I go on holiday the next day to China.
Oh, dude. Awesome.
Like early in the morning. So I am properly in the doghouse about that.
Let me see.
Right, well, I don't have any tickets, but I really want to see it.
20th of May. Jesus, 2 months ago I bought them. Wow. Okay. Awesome.
Have you seen the new trailer that they put out yesterday, or are you keeping away from spoilers?
I kind of.
I don't watch them.
I've seen a couple of trailers just to catch up with them, but the minute-long ones and 30-long ones, which are just like teasing you and edging you on for it, I don't need to watch those. Thank you very much.
I try not to watch them because too many times have I had like a movie I'm excited for spoiled by the trailer.
Did see the trailer for Brave New World soon. That looks interesting. The fact that Red Hulk's in it was spoiled a while ago, but Harrison Ford's going to play a good evil president in there, probably turning into the Red Hulk. So yeah, that'd be cool.
He's replacing William Hurt, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who unfortunately passed away recently.
Yeah, that's sad. Because I did actually wonder why he was recast, but I guess I hadn't realised.
Yeah.
Because William Hurt can look quite different from role to role. I hadn't realised he was like Thunderbolt Ross or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd wonder why they were, and then I was like, oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a good job.
I don't think he was that old either, was he?
Mid-70s.
Yeah, he wasn't excessively old.
Which is, to be fair, Harrison Ford's late 70s,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy, huh?
Right, how do these stick on? Like that? That's pretty nicely, actually. Okay.
It's quite a nice painting. I haven't picked up a paintbrush in ages, and I'm genuinely quite enjoying.
Have you feel like you've missed it? Have you?
Oh, I miss it every day. I sit there and look at my ridiculous paint collection and go, "Oh, I wish I had some time to paint."
That's the thing, isn't it? It's just making the time.
You'll get the time back, man, because both my kids go to bed reasonably reliably and early now. Like, so me and my wife actually have evenings again after like 3 years of no evenings. So we are going to pick. Speaking of World of Warcraft, we are going to pick up War Within work. Me and my wife.
Yeah.
Don't know how, but like we will be playing it super casually, like 4 hours a week maximum. But we are going to attempt to get in. We're probably not going to do the early access nonsense, but because even if we
played it so much that I can't not see it through at this point. So we've got to play through the end of the story and figure out just what the Titans are doing to fuck us all and so on.
So we will, even if we got early access, we'll probably end up that'll be the night the kids don't go to bed. So it'll be playing.
So they timed it really well. I was absolutely hell bent on not getting early access in general principle, in just what like Tony said. And then I found out when the early access days are on, because I'm not going to take time off to play it anymore. I'm not going to do that for early access. I'm not going to do early access at all anyway. But they've timed early access so that the 3 days are a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday.
Okay, so everybody else gets it, what, Monday?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So the fact that it would time up to a weekend that I could potentially just play it anyway was...
that's
evil.
Oh, well. Maybe I'll actually wait then, and maybe I'll just get Space Marine 2 first, and then get WoW like a month after I'm bored of Space Marine 2.
Well, WoW is out a month before Space Marine 2.
I know, but just...
fair enough.
I think if I get WoW, then I'll probably not have any time for Space Marine 2, I guess.
Oh, they've announced the new FIFA yesterday. Yay.
They've announced what?
The new... Sorry, not FIFA. FC, EA Sports FC.
Oh, that's the new EA Sports version of FIFA?
Sorry, we've lost license.
They don't want to pay the license.
Yeah. It wasn't a question they don't have to pay the license, it's that they lost it. FIFA wanted more money and EA said, nah, cheers, mate.
It surprised me because they make an incredible amount of money off of that. So they're really gambling that...
They've licensed it out to somebody else now to make another game called FIFA instead.
Yeah.
Who don't have as much money as EA do.
I'm just surprised that EA risked that happening.
Ryan Johnson kind of landed the death blow that killed modern Star Wars, says Micah Sagagi counter. I do not want to get into that argument because that's going to be... It's too hot for that argument.
We all hate this stuff, yeah.
I don't. Oh,
you
fuck.
don't
Right, let's
hate
get into
The Last
the fucking
Jedi.
argument. Ryan Johnson did a good film. He took some good risks, and he tried to move the series on, and people didn't like it. And Ryan Johnson makes some good shit. I will not hear a bad word said about the man. In particular, if you doubt that even slightly, Knives Out movies are fucking brilliant.
Oh, he's made some great movies. It's just that Star Wars film was shite. But that's all right, because George Lucas made some absolute garbage movies as well. He made Episode 1.
True, he did make a lot of garbage movies.
So you can have a great director make some absolute wank. And unfortunately, Last Jedi was.
It was not the best, but it was still better than Episode 9.
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry, J.J. Abrams. I respect you've done a lot of good work, but Episode 9 was
not
a
good movie.
Are you guys still watching Acolyte?
I watched the last episode of it this week.
Okay.
I've gotten behind of it. I've watched episodes 1 to 4, and I didn't particularly care for it. I'm hoping it gets better just because I really love the look of the smiley evil bad guy.
He is the best bit of the series,
and his costume design is absolutely phenomenal.
He is the best bit of the series.
I'm only 2 episodes in. I need to get back to it.
The story to me was completely nonsensical.
Yeah, I thought I guess I'm only 2 episodes in because I haven't been
perfect by the end. They've very deliberately made it very mysterious and not sure what's going on in the first couple of episodes, and they do clear it all up by the end. The mystery is meant to sort of like grab
and
you
the singing musical bit just. It's a bit like I was watching Mando, but in the opposite direction. So I was watching that episode of Mando, and I was like, "What the fuck? This is harrowing."
Have you seen the one with Jack Black yet?
Can't remember.
You'd know.
I've seen episodes 1 to 4, so But
I can't remember if it was later or.
I think it might have been later.
Okay, fine. When
But-
you see that, we'll talk again because that was fucking
Yeah.
brilliant.
But it was just like the opposite of that Mando episode that I found too depressing to continue watching.
Yeah.
I was watching it and I was going, when did this become a Disney princess movie?
It's kind of not. It's meant to be a bit more creepy than that.
But
In a way, it is if you know what's going on, but
it was just weird.
it was a bit weird. Yeah.
And I didn't like the way that they lessened the impact of Anakin and Anakin's story. And the Chosen One, they made it less important.
They haven't lessened. Oh fuck. No, I'm not going to say anymore. If John's only seen the first 2 episodes,
All right.
they
I
haven't.
will watch the rest of it.
They haven't lessened it. That's a key part of the entire story.
Yeah, we'll come back.
Yeah, I was watching it.
once
Got a
I've
bit
seen a bit more of
annoyed
it.
by it. Didn't really enjoy it, so I went
Yeah.
back to watch Mando season 3, which I've been
Oh,
saving.
Mando is much better. And that's a lie. Better's a subjective term. For me, at least, Mando is a much more enjoyable series than the Acolyte is, hands down, no argument.
Yeah. And I love Mando, and I want to watch. I'm going to watch Andor next, and I'm going to watch Obi-Wan
Okay, yeah, cool.
because I
Obi-Wan
haven't
had
watched
its
Obi-Wan
moments.
yet. And again, I love Ewan McGregor. I think he's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Obi-Wan definitely had its moments.
Like I say, maybe I'm in a weird camp because I enjoyed Boba Fett, and everybody that talks is like, "Oh, Boba Fett was awful."
I enjoyed a lot of it. There were bits of it I didn't.
The best bit in the Book of Boba Fett was when he was like a bantha. Did you not laugh at that bit?
No,
No,
I laughed at the
really?
bit where he's just grinning riding a speeder bike.
Yeah, and
That
he's
was-
like on top of it, and he's saying to the sand people, he's like a bantha. I thought it was brilliant. That was my
I
favourite
thought it
bit.
was fun. I thought Fennec Shand, and I liked the kind of redemption arc that they did in that. I thought the mods were cool. A lot of people like
The
I
moddies
thought the
were
mods
weird,
cool.
but they were kind of cool. Yeah.
I thought they were cool. I know they were weird, but they were so cool it was okay.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not looking at Star Wars through a factual lens. You know, it's like other people had that problem with the fire in the first Acolyte episode. And all right, that was ridiculous, but suspension of disbelief.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm going to notice things like that, but if the rest of the episode is good enough that I'm going to let it go.
Yeah, Cobb
Yeah.
Vanth is cool. I'm looking forward to seeing him again in future stuff. I hope he turns up again.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he will.
Definitely.
But yeah.
So, but yeah, I liked Fennec Shand. I thought that was a really cool character. I thought she was a really interesting, strong, cool character. You know, a nice addition to the mythos and the lore.
KOTOR 2 is one of my favourite video games.
That was a good game.
KOTOR 1 was good. KOTOR 2, I felt, was just so much more subtle and in-depth and exploring the whole Jedi morally grey kind of thing to it.
Yeah.
I thought it was such a good subject.
I did play through that one a few times. I like that one. I'm a big fan of the old Jedi Outcast game as well, and
Oh, yeah.
Jedi Knight and Dark Forces.
I like the MMO, man.
I never played that because I never really played any MMOs.
Fair.
Yeah, each class in that MMO had its own story. Like in each class's story was
Yeah.
the equivalent length of like KOTOR. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the MMO, if you've never played it, you can literally
It's
go
like
into it.
8 KOTOR sequels in one.
Yeah, it's like
I've heard
8 games, and I've completed like 4 or 5 of them, and like some of the ones that are the best, or you wouldn't even think they're the best, right? Like because I
It does
did
seem
like
to come up with people saying that it's sort of one of the best MMOs that's ever
failed.
failed, but like existed.
Yeah.
You know,
that.
it's absolutely beloved by people.
Yeah, they try to wrap it as an MMO, and honestly, if they just made it as like 8 single-player games, it would have probably done better, I imagine.
Yeah.
But, EA, like their money.
I thought I didn't like what they did with the Force Unleashed 2. I enjoyed the first Force Unleashed game, but the second one felt a bit like Metal Gear Solid 5 and Deus Ex Mankind Divided. You know where they run out of money?
Yeah.
At the end of the game was missing.
But yeah, I've got like I like the first 2 KOTOR games, and then
I'd love another Deus Ex game.
I'd love a new
Would.
Deus Ex. The
I
original
really-
one,
I really enjoyed Mankind Divided, Mankind Evolved. I thought they were so
Yeah.
good.
Mankind Divided, I think is well, I think actually Human Revolution might be one of the best games of all time.
Yeah.
I'd put that in kind of the top 10
The guy who did the voice for him, Elias Tefexis, is such a good voice for him as well.
Yeah. The soundtrack for that game, I actually bought that.
Amazing.
It is one of the best soundtracks of any game. I listened to it just for fun.
For driving or enjoyment, yeah.
Yeah, I have it on when I'm working, and the whole tone of that game.
The gold and black aesthetic of it as well, the skyscrapers.
Fantastic. I absolutely adore that game.
Kyle is such a great character. Too bad Disney pretty much wrote him out. You mean Kylo Ren, or are you talking someone else that I haven't missed it? Oh, Kyle Katarn. Sorry, right, okay.
Oh, Katarn, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Disney wrote out so many with the legend. Do you know what? I think as much as everybody hates new Star Wars or whatever you call it,
hello. Yep.
I think a good part of that is because people like me, like you guys, had like 50 Legends books. And
and some of them were and some of them were shit.
Oh, some of them.
Some of them were amazing.
Yeah, I will never forgive Disney for what they did to Wedge.
Those X-Wing books was amazing.
Well, exactly. Like my favorite modern Star Wars, or like Star Wars that was released in the last like 15 years, are some of the fucking Legends books before Disney took over. Honestly, like they're better than
the X-Wing series. I've read them so many times.
Oh god, they were so good.
But why did they need to? They basically got Wedge.
Yeah, on my reading pile right next to me right now is one of them that I've recently started rereading over again. Yeah,
you know, they just took what was the essence of Wedge and said we're going to rename him Poe so that we own the character.
Yeah, and make him more of a dick.
Yeah. It's like, no, we've got a character who's like the best fighter pilot.
He wasn't a dick. That's unfair. He was just not. He was a lot. I think is the way I can describe it.
They got Wedge and they wanted to make a cooler, better Disney Wedge.
Yeah.
And in doing so, they lost it was the flaws that made him cool.
He's a Mary Sue Wedge, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and that just I'd never liked that. You know, the other character I think they criminally underused, which was a legitimately new character, was Finn.
Yeah.
I really liked the character of Finn, but they seem to have decided after the Force Awakens or whatever that actually no, we're not going to worry about Finn. We're just going to focus all our effort on Rey. And I just thought Rey was a boring character that didn't make any sense. Whereas Finn had that fantastic arc where he was a stormtrooper trying to redeem himself, you know? Breaking his programming essentially. That was really
and then didn't, yeah.
And that was really interesting, and they could have done so much with that. But no. We're just going to have this character that's suddenly the world's best at absolutely everything for no apparent reason.
Oh, well. Well, I guess we'll find out.
They're making a Rey movie, aren't they?
Because they're making a Rey movie to follow on from Episode 9, yeah.
Oh, I did not. I must admit.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, actually, because they've failed so badly with the more recent films that they kind of have to pull out all the stops on this. And they're absolutely capable of making good stuff. Absolutely.
Well, Mando Season 2 finale?
Yeah. So if they actually put some real effort into it, then there's a good chance that the Rey movie could be quite cool. Although we know the next Star Wars movie is going to be the Mandalorian movie.
Yeah, Mandalorian Grogu is supposed to be next year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, right? And I could be in the minority, and you can tell me if I'm stupid. I'll be happy to hear that. Before, like when Episode 7 was announced, right? Like, I'm going to the cinema to see Episode 7. No one will tell me otherwise. When Episode 8 was announced, I didn't hate Episode 7 all that much. I would have liked to see more Luke, probably, like everybody did. But I'm like, all right, go see Episode 8. Mm-hmm. And then what happened was Episode 8 was so shit. Like, I hate that movie so much that, like...
I only very recently saw Episode 9. I refused to watch. Episode 8 was so bad that I just went, do you know what? Star Wars can get in the bin. I'm never watching it again. And I refused to watch anything new for literally years.
Well, that was the thing. They basically said,
we bullied you into it.
Basically, until you bullied me into it.
I remember the news article came out saying, like, Solo has failed because of Disney, of what they called it. They said Star Wars fatigue. I went to see Solo at the cinema, but, like, you know when a movie's been on and there's, like, one showing left on, like, a Tuesday night and then it's going away? I got to that point, so like 4 weeks had gone past, and I hated episode 7 so
You're the only
much.
person in the screen.
So me and Charlotte went to see Solo, like literally the last ever showing in our local cinema, and we came out of Solo and was like, I quite enjoyed that, right?
No, that was randomly fun. Yeah.
I still haven't seen Solo, but actually, the only reason I haven't is I just haven't got round to it. It does look quite fun. I don't like
not the
that
best
they
thing since
recast
sliced bread,
Harrison
but it's
Ford,
fun.
but I know why they've recast Harrison Ford. He's getting a bit old.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
The guy who played Lando did a really good job.
Yeah, I thought, and the guy that played Harrison Ford did a good job as well. To be honest, there was nothing that made me come out of that movie. It had a bit cheesy things because they tried to cram too much stuff. But nothing made me, when I came out of the movie, going like, I fucking hated that, right? Like, you know, whereas like, I did absolutely hate Last Jedi. So what was the interesting thing about that was like, Last Jedi made like 2 billion, or I think it was 1.5 billion, and Solo only made 300 million. Like Solo made like a fifth, and they were like, "Oh, people are Star Wars fatigued," and I was like, "People aren't Star Wars fatigued. Your last movie is just absolute garbage, but you can, for some reason, you're not understanding that. You're thinking that we hated, and I had no problem with Rey, right? Like, you know, like because there was all that like woke stuff that went with the movie.
Oh, so many people.
I've got no problem. Right, I just thought it was a badly written character. There's nothing else to it.
The thing I hated
it wasn't
about
just
that
the character, it was the entire story. It was the whole continuity.
The whole thing was just bad.
The thing I hated the most is like I hated what they did to Luke, because it was like, this is the guy that will not fight his own father.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute, I'm going to kill a youngling. I was like, that was not my Luke.
The hero's journey to become the hero, and suddenly,
and that's what they did in the Legends series. Luke's some ropey books, but Luke's journey carries on in the Legends books and becomes really interesting. He does fall to the dark side for a while, and why he does it, trying to control that.
Dark Empire was very, very cool.
Very, very cool books. And then So I remember watching, and I know we've talked about the Acolyte already a little bit, but I was watching an interview with Leslie Headland, and she was saying how special what Rian Johnson wanted to do, and how she just, you know, how real Star Wars fans appreciate his work. And I was thinking, right, well, I thought I was a real Star Wars fan, and I thought his work was shite. So does this mean that I'm not allowed to like this, or I'm some kind of fraud?
No,
it was largely because, again, like John
dislike
says,
things.
What
The
they
only
did
thing you
to
can't
Luke.
disagree with is commercial success or commercial failure, because it's
Absolutely,
a fact.
Yeah. If you haven't seen Solo, though, here's the great thing. Because Solo did so bad at the box office, I picked it up on Blu-ray for like a $5, honestly. Yeah. And if you've not seen it, you'll really enjoy it, I'm
It's
sure.
also got one of my favourite actors of all time in it as well, as one of the villains. A actor called Paul Bettany.
Yeah, I love Paul Bettany. Yeah,
he's in Solo.
All right. Genuinely, it looks all right. And I'll probably watch it just if I'm still on a bit of a Star Wars kick after I finish Mando and that.
Well, you've got it free on Disney Plus, don't you? No, yeah. I guess. So if you've just got 2 hours you want to kill and you want to have fun, there's nothing wrong with that movie. The only thing that was wrong with that movie was it came out after episode 8 and fucking everybody was like, I'm so annoyed and hate Star Wars.
No one was really in the mood for that then.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And it wasn't Star Wars fatigue at all, like they said. It wasn't like, because I was like, you could literally release a Star Wars movie every 6 months and I would see it if they are good. That's the kicker. If they are good, you know?
I think that's what I really understand. It wasn't Star Wars fatigue. It's the last movie was shit. Why would I watch this one?
Never seen episode 9. I thought Solo and Rouge One. I'm going to call you out for that. Don't spell it Rouge One. Rouge One.
Rouge One. I like it.
Well, actually good, but 7, 8, 9 just poo. I thank the Mandalorian for getting my wife into the S.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, my wife loves Mando.
The stories are so badly written. The universe and finally watched the movies with me. That's following on from the same post right there. So I thank the Mandalorian for getting my wife into the universe, and finally watched the movies with me. So cool, awesome. Solo was solid, as I don't care for most of the new stuff. Fair enough.
Yeah, I loved Rogue One. I thought it was excellent. I really did. That was, apart from Mando, that's my favourite of the modern.
So Rogue One was a very, very solidly well done, good film. There are bits that I didn't like, and most of the things I didn't like were all centered around the fact that I thought Cassian Andor is a prick. I just don't like him. Which is why I wasn't really interested in watching the Andor.
But then James Bond is a prick, and it's a similar kind of idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
Effectively, it's that
having watched Andor, I enjoy Rogue One more now.
Yeah.
Well, which is good.
What part
Yeah,
of
that's
me
a
thought
weird
it was
one.
a good idea to do eyes on stream.
Tell me, have you guys read the Darth Bane trilogy?
No.
I
Is
don't
that
think I
is
know.
that is that Oh no. Is that a Jason Solo era stuff, or is it prequel to Darth Plagueis sort of era sort of stuff?
It's about 10 Sith. Like, so if you assume the Sith are always two, a master and an
Yeah.
apprentice, Darth Bane is the master about 10 before Darth Plagueis. So I guess it's like
Okay,
1,000
right.
years before Darth Plagueis. Darth
Yeah.
Bane is the guy that came up with the rule of two.
Oh, that's more than 10. That's like 4 or 5,000 years before. That's like bloody the first guy with the twin bladed red lightsaber sort of
Darth
era
Maul.
stuff. No, before that.
Oh.
So
No, I think you're wrong because in the Old Republic, if you've played, like you know the Old Republic, you've played the games a little bit. There's lots of Siths running around, like hundreds of them.
yeah.
So like, it's a
Before
lot.
that.
So, let's say 1,000 years before Darth Plagueis, there was
Tales
lots of
of the Old
Sith
Republic,
running
yeah.
around. Yeah,
Okay.
and the first book is basically Darth Bane's plan to murder all 1,000 Sith and only have 2 of them left. That's like the first book.
Okay.
And if
enough.
you've never read it, it's honestly my favourite Dark Side Star Wars trilogy. It's
Really?
brilliant.
I'll tell you what I'm reading at the
Sounds
moment on
dubious,
that
all right.
vein is I've started buying the modern Marvel Darth Vader comic book series.
Oh, I've got some of them, yeah.
That's really
I've
good,
got
isn't
a
it?
few of them. Mainly, I got them because I was interested in the whole
Surrounded by
fear
and
in
Dead
Dead Men quote. Got me into buying some of the comics and reading them. Yeah.
Did you say you think the Darth Bane stuff is dubious, Mark?
No, I didn't say that. I haven't read them. I can't make that judgment.
Okay. I would if you've got like an Audible credit, the guy that does them on Audible is awesome as well. By the way, he does a lot of the Star Wars books. You'll know his voice the second because I've read all the Old Republic books, right? The ones about Malgus and stuff like that, and I've also read. I think he might do the new Thrawn books actually as well. I think he might be the voice actor that does those ones.
Well, I haven't listened to them all.
Mark
I've read all of
Thompson, I
them,
think.
But yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know the name. I think I've...
So he's very good. He even does the women's voices as well, which I guess they're a bit like Kreia from the Old Republic. You know, like a bit of like a twisted dark side female voice, I guess.
Yeah. Phone auto-corrected that. I promise. I'll take your word for it. First book of that series is outstanding. Second book is very good. Only thing I don't like about Rogue One was it made Kyle Katarn's story not exist. They wrote him out of non-Legends stuff before Rogue One.
They did.
Yeah.
Did you play? Talking of Kyle Katarn, did you play the remake of Dark Forces?
No.
No, but
Really
it looks dope, man. The graphics
It really is
amazing.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Night Dive Studios of everything they make at the moment has been absolute gold because they're the people making the new Thing remake as well.
I saw that, yeah. I actually went to look at Dark Forces just because I heard that they were making the Thing remake to see what quality and the sprites and stuff they updated on Dark Forces looks very cool.
Everything they've done like that has been absolutely golden.
Okay.
Really has.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm very excited for the Thing remake. But yeah, the Dark Forces one was really good.
I like the idea of remakes and remasters, but I tend to either start them and not play them. So I've sort of like grown to generally not want to play them because having played through the game and the story once, that's like the playthrough for me. That's the story. Playing it through again
Depends on the game for me, to be honest. I do know what you're saying. There's some games that I only want to play through once. I used to buy a lot of games from GOG.
Yeah,
me too.
I like the fact that GOG, when it was good old games, used to get those games from my childhood and make them work on modern PCs.
Okay, that too, yeah.
So there were games that I played as a kid and never finished, or they were too hard. But I remember fondly, and I've been able to go back to them as an adult and play them.
I picked up the old Dungeon Keeper game on much the same basis.
You know, at one point I owned something like 85% of GOG's catalogue.
Nice.
And then they started publishing modern games and indie games and stuff, and I couldn't keep up.
Fair enough.
Because I support what they do. That was part of it. I like what they were doing.
I sound like a bit of a weird hypocrite at the moment because the current game that I'm playing is I'm near the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
To be fair,
Near
that's
the
an
end of that.
amazing game.
Have you played the Crisis Core one?
I played it years and years ago on the PSP. I can
Yeah.
barely remember.
Well,
any of
they
it,
did
to
that
be
modern
honest.
remake of it quite recently,
They
didn't they?
did, yeah.
I only asked because I saw it in a sale today, and I was like, "Oh yeah,
Okay.
I quite fancied that."
If you
'cause I
haven't,
like the old PSP one.
if so, I'll tell you what they've done because there was a big hoo-ha when they released Crisis Core.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this because it's going to be 2006, I think, was the PSP one, Tony.
Yeah.
On the PSP game, the entire game wasn't voice acted. Although, like, there was a voice actor for Zack, there was huge sections of the game where it was just text, like the old Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
So this remaster, they recast the whole game. They recast it so it's the same actors from FF7 Remake, which I guess some people were upset about because they didn't do the same job as, or you know, they're the same people that did the PSP version. But what they have done is they have voice acted the entire game now, so there is no part of the game that is not voice acted. And then here's the other thing: the remake of Crisis Core improves lots of parts of it. Right, everything that was like dull and boring and a drag has been improved. So, like, those little missions that you used to do on the save points.
Yeah, they got a bit grindy after a while because they're always the same.
Yeah, everything has been improved. So I actually tried to complete the remake of Crisis Core before, like, FF7 Part 2 came out.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that I did because it was actually genuinely really good. If you like Zack and you like his story, then you will genuinely
the original
enjoy
Crisis
it.
Core.
Similarly, I played the legendary remake of the Mass Effect trilogy because it had been a few years, and I absolutely adore the Mass Effect trilogy. It is one of my favourite game experiences of all time. It's amazing.
1 and 2 I played extensively, like to death, and I never got around to playing 3.
3 is with a couple of exceptions, Night Clint, with a couple of exceptions and notable bits, which we can discuss if you want to at some point.
There was the ending of the game, wasn't there? That was the big
3 is stellar. It's astounding. It's amazing. There were bits in it. So I took 3 days off to play that game when it came out. I binged it solidly. And there was a bit halfway through the game where I just couldn't play anymore. I had to stop. Tears were streaming down my face. So I had to go away and take a half hour to recompose myself because of what had just happened in the game before I could go back to it and carry on playing with it. Such a good game. So good.
The one like that as well, that also kind of, it must have been a similar kind of time, was Dead Space 3. I didn't like Dead Space 3 because they changed the way the game played to force microtransactions in.
Yeah, that's fair. But going back to the reason why I mentioned it, they've tweaked Mass Effect 1 in the Legendary Remaster. So the combat system and exploration system and movement system and the way the tanks and vehicles work a lot more smoothly and a lot better based on the improvements and the changes they made over 2 and 3, which I really appreciated.
Well,
they
1
didn't change
did not
the
have a
story
good
and the
combat
explanation
system,
the core of the game. Well, yeah, and 2 really did. So the fact that they brought that on board, an updated 1 to have that, I appreciated. I thought it was great.
I never played Andromeda, did you?
I did, yes.
Was it all right?
It was a good game. It was not as good as the original trilogy. And
I remember it coming out and being a bit of a buggy mess, and I thought, well, I'll leave it to get patched up. And
so I never had a buggy experience with it, although I saw a lot of other people did, which makes perfect sense. It suffered a lot, and it suffered a lot from high expectations because you were coming off the back of Mass Effect 3, which is the third game in an amazing trilogy with massive emotional highs and a whole load of stuff going on. And Andromeda is like the first part in a completely new story. There's no established stuff to be going on with. You got to get to know all the characters from scratch all over again, and it sort of takes it all in a completely different direction. So it lacked a lot of the weight that you went into Mass Effect 3 with, and I think a lot of people sort of suffered from that lack. But as a game in and of itself, it was a solid game.
Yeah, I remember I didn't buy it at the time because I saw the reviews said it was a bit buggy and that, and I thought I'll leave it. I'll wait for the price to drop and the bugs to get fixed, and I'll buy it.
Yeah.
And I just never got around to it.
The story in it is okay sci-fi. The characters are cool. The way they meet each other and get along with each other or not and interact with each other and dynamics is cool. The customization's great. The combat's great. It's in general an okay game.
Yeah. Right, what's the time? Yeah, I'll be going to be enough. Right,
10 to 11.
10 to 11.
We've got 7 people watching. Hello, 7 people who
Hello,
are
7
watching
people.
us.
Thank
you for listening to our rambling bollocks and joining us for hobbying and talking shit because we didn't have a proper episode planned.
quite a lot of Star Wars talk, isn't it?
Star Wars, video games, lots of.
I've gone on
all
a couple of
over the
rants.
place. Yeah. Is it really an episode of ours where you don't go on a rant? You're welcome, Ryan. John has sort of sat there and listened and got on with stuff
as he makes his Star Wars models?
Yeah.
As a
I've
big
got
Star Wars models.
I don't. It's for some reason it's gone very dark on my camera. I think I've got a setting gone funny, but they're coming out quite nicely.
Yeah, it looks all right to me. Cambo enjoyed 3 immensely. So, all right. So the ending of Mass Effect 3, when it first came out, essentially the entirety of Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 was written by a whole load of story writers who got together and they workshopped it over a table and they took the best bits and they put the best bits into the game. The ending of Mass Effect 3 was written by 2 guys who said, this is the vision we want for the game. We're going to make this to be the ending of Mass Effect 3 and that's it. And they did that. And the ending was polarizing and shit.
Listen up to a little bit of Star Wars since we're only talking Star Wars, okay?
Oh, all right. Go on.
1,020 years before A New Hope. It precisely says it in the book, right?
Okay.
In the last days of Old Republic, the Sith, followers of the dark side and the ancient enemies of the Jedi, ordered number only 2. 1 master and 1 apprentice. Yet, it was not always so. 1,000 years before the Republic's collapse and Emperor Palpatine's rise to power, the Sith were legion. That's your first paragraph.
Okay.
Right.
Does that hook you? Does that hook you? Because it hooked the fuck out of me.
So what's the name of this book,
maybe.
John? And I'm going to add it to my Audible.
Path of Destruction.
I'll add it to my. I've stopped painting so that I can add this to my.
I was going to say, do you want me
list.
to read you the first page?
I'd rather you didn't.
No,
No? Okay.
please don't.
Because as much as you want to be, you're not Ewan McGregor.
I'm not trying to be Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a trilogy about...
Path to Destruction, you say?
Yeah, that's the first of 3. So it's a 3-part trilogy. It's the Darth Bane trilogy.
3-part trilogy?
Yeah.
Wow. I've never heard of 3-part trilogies before.
Well, it's
It's not Douglas Adams trilogy.
I was going to say, you should probably know it because it's Drew Karpyshyn that wrote it, right?
Yeah.
You know
who is a BioWare author.
Who is BioWare, so he probably wrote Mass Effect as well, to be honest.
Before he wrote Mass Effect, I think he was doing more of the Dragon Age games, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
He wrote Baldur's
David Gaynor,
Gate.
who was doing the other ones, yeah.
Either way,
series I never got into.
Just going back very briefly to the Mass Effect thing, because I kind of want Tony to play this, because I really enjoyed it. When they did shortly after they did Mass Effect 3, like a few months after, and for the Legendary Edition, they reworked the ending so that it is no longer. It's not like the ending of the Lord of the Rings. It's not the best ending with the best epilogue in it ever ever been written.
Nor was the ending of the Lord of the Rings. If I remember right, it was a brilliant movie, but that film should have finished half an hour before it did.
I do like a good epilogue, I have to say. I like seeing what happens and what happens to the characters.
I needed a pee.
Beating the big.
I needed a pee for that ending.
So did everybody in the cinema.
Every time I started to stand up, I thought I could have my pee, and then it would come back in, and now we're in the Shire.
The ending in Mass Effect 3 is much better in the Legendary Edition, not just because they reworked the ending, but also because they put all the DLC in with Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
And the final piece of DLC they did for Mass Effect 3 is a celebration on the Citadel where they all get together, have a massive party, and some weird batshit crazy plot goes on in the middle of it. And it's like a really, really cool send-off for everybody involved, all the characters.
So I need to give it a go. I'm going to sit down and play for again because, like I say, I played 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And I never got any further than that. And the other one I need to give another go to is I've got the new Dead Space remake because I really enjoyed Dead Space 1 and 2. Because I like my horror. I love my kind of like body horror, cosmic horror, kind of sci-fi nonsense.
Yeah.
And they really appeals to me. And
Cambo says he enjoyed 3 immensely, but the ending was basically pick a colour, which is kind of true. It's a little bit
of that sci-fi horror in Mass Effect, which I quite liked.
Yeah. Cambo also highly recommends Spear of the Emperor if you haven't read it, which is
I've read that
Warhammer
one,
series. I've heard good things about it, although I've also heard that the chapter involved is a little bit problematic.
The one I think was cruelly underrepresented was the Young Jedi Knights books.
Oh, they were so good as well.
They were quite fun, they were. I mean, you go back to
Lowbacker, Jason and Jaina.
Yeah. Before
so gutted.
Jason went evil.
Yeah. I fell out of love with the novels about halfway through the Yuzhan invasion. I went, you know what? Nah, mate. Some of the authors doing this are good. Some of them are shit.
The one that I really struggled with was the courtship of Princess Leia or whatever it was.
See, I really like that one.
I just didn't. It wasn't what I wanted.
No.
I wanted more stabby, swishy action.
I mean, that's a massively impactful book.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I just didn't particularly enjoy it. It was. I think I read that around the same sort of time as I read the Timothy Zahn book.
I think things that happened in that book were some of the first things to be put back in Star Wars after they decanonized all the legend stuff.
Yeah,
because that's where the Witches of Dathomir came from.
I still didn't like it. I read it at the same time as the Timothy Zahn trilogy. It was so much better.
I agree it wasn't the same caliber, but I thought it was quite good at the very least.
And I just struggled with it. I just found him a little bit dull.
Courtship of Bakura was a bit weird. Darksaber was the one that I thought was the most of the lot.
Could I jump in 2 seconds?
I remember Darksaber.
You may.
So, Drew Corporation wrote...
Okay, all right.
Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2. And
he didn't write them. He was on the writing team. But yeah, okay.
Okay. He was a lead writer for the first 2 Mass Effect games.
All right, fair enough then.
Okay, so that's okay. I'm just reading what it says on Wikipedia. He wrote The Old Republic. He wrote 2 Star Wars The Old Republic books, which were Revan and Annihilation. He wrote 3 Mass Effect books, Revelation, Ascension, and Retribution.
Some of them were good, some of them were not.
So I mean, he I guess he also wrote Neverwinter Nights, which was a good game. Yeah.
I loved that. That was the only thing I didn't like about that was I was a big Baldur's Gate fan, and when you're playing Baldur's Gate 2 and throwing a ball, it keeps saying in it, when you finish this, you can carry on your adventure on Neverwinter Nights.
Mm-hmm.
Oh right, okay.
And they never implemented the way to carry your character over to Neverwinter Nights. But I was a bit younger then, when I wasted fucking hours trying to load my character into Neverwinter Nights.
Yeah.
Trying to think. I've read some absolutely awful video game books.
Oh, I remember Shadows of the Empire. Jim says, I read some of the Shadows of the Empire series and enjoyed that. Always liked Dash Rendar. I remember that event. That was a good event.
He was cool.
Wasn't he in a video game as well, Dash Rendar?
Yeah, they did a big multimedia event based on Shadows of the Empire that was a video game and a novel and comics and all sorts of stuff.
That's right. It was on the Nintendo 64? I think. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
I love my 64.
Shadows of the Empire, yeah.
And then Prince Shizor, the insectoid weirdo who seduced Leia with pheromones or something.
Yeah, and there was all that whole thing with the what were the funny little weasels that affected the Force?
Isalamiri.
Yes.
Was there a Salamiri in there?
I think it was that one. Well, some of them, and they just that whole concept of the Force weasels just weirded me out.
Yeah, okay,
I just didn't really understand what was going on there. I quite liked all the Mara Jade stuff. That was cool. And Talon Karade.
Honestly, Mara Jade and Talon Card are 2 of the things I miss the most from Legends stuff.
That was when Luke was cool and he had a really cool plot arc with Mara. And that's another thing that they really sorely missed from the new Star Wars movies.
I think that's the biggest thing they missed, yes.
And I think they realised
Are they is it me, Or am I thinking that there was, based on that bit in Book of Boba Fett, are they getting towards Luke and Ahsoka instead of doing Luke and Mara?
I don't know if they are. I didn't feel that they were.
No.
And it'd be weird.
They just need to recast Luke, honestly. I've seen a picture of like Sebastian Stan who plays.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. I know who Sebastian Stan is.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
right.
He's my wife's biggest crush.
He should just play Luke. They should just get over themselves and just make him play Luke.
Yeah, I'd be happier with them keeping the character,
Yeah.
keeping the heart of the character, because I know they wanted to recast. Well, they didn't want to recast. They wanted their own characters that they could do whatever they wanted with.
Yeah.
Whereas
Uh-huh.
characters like Luke and that are so fixed in people's minds, they can't really go anywhere with them.
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, that doesn't. That in book 53.
Which I
hates
get
Queens.
and I respect, but still.
So that's why they needed to kill those guys off and do their own thing. But
All right. So here's a question I've been pondering for a while that I haven't come up with an answer to yet. But
Go on.
I'd like to ask you guys what you think. What is the essence of Star Wars?
the hero's journey.
If you think of a
Hero's journey.
philosophy that epitomizes what Star Wars is, that is present in every single element of everything that is Star Wars, what is it?
I mean, in a way, it's a fantasy tale, really. If you go back to episode 4, episode 4 was basically Lord of the Rings in space, right? It's like a wizard's journey, a magical thing, but in space rather than in
And
fantasy.
every one of them kind of follows that thing. It's the whole good versus evil, and if you hold true to your good ideals, you overcome evil kind of thing. Everyone has always had that kind of space, but high fantasy in space kind of feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever they've gone too far away from that, that's when it's fallen flat.
Yeah.
You know, we like our heroes to be heroic and our bad guys to be perhaps not Machiavellian, but it's nice to have a bit of depth to it. And I do think Vader always had a bit of depth to him. But at the same time, you've got good and evil, and then you've got the story of a bit of struggle, but good overcoming the evil. And there was always that bit of struggle in there. And I think that the new movies, especially, were really guilty of the struggle was so convolutedly clearly not there. It's like, have you read the Mephiston Black Library books?
No, somebody put me off them. I can't imagine who.
Probably me. But because what you've got in them is you've got this character in Mephiston who is so cool, but because he's so awesomely amazing at everything, what you get in every one of those books is, and then this happens, and blah, 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 gets his head blown off, and it's all going bad, and then Mephiston. And it's like, and Mephiston comes in, he stops time with his mind, he melts that guy, kills that guy, and just wanders through it all completely untouchable. And it was almost like it's so difficult to write a good Superman story because Superman's so powerful that it makes it difficult to get the jeopardy in. And the new Star Wars movies really had that kind of an issue. I mean, you combine that with the idea of what they did a little bit like in Halo, when they did to Master Chief, and it's like, we need a new main character. How do we show the new main character's tough? We'll make him beat the old main character up.
Yeah.
So you've got this kind of no progression at all. The new characters are automatically, immediately amazing at everything they do the first time they do it. Coupled with how do we show that they're so much better than the old ones by them just being immensely better at everything, you know, and having the old characters go, oh wow, you're so good. I could never do this, and it just meant that there was no struggle, no story progression at all.
Yeah.
The biggest problem with Rey is that she started out as the world's best at absolutely everything, and that never changed. You know,
I've read 2 good Superman stories in my life.
yeah, that's very hard to write.
One of them was written by, it was a comic arc written by a chap called J.M. Straczynski, who wrote Babylon 5, amongst other things.
Yeah.
And it's a story arc called Grounded. The idea is that Superman has suffered a loss or something like that, and so he wants to reconnect with people in general. So he decides to start on one side of the USA and then just walk across the entirety of the continent and encounter whatever he encounters as he goes along the way, and just meet people, talk down off ledges, deal with human issues and problems, rather than deal with superpowered stuff that he can punch and can't threaten him and all this sort of stuff. And they give him moral issues to contend with and discuss, and make him have to deal with victims of spousal abuse who want to stay with their partners, and he can't just walk in and and punch the problem away or something. And that was a really good story arc. And the second one was a sort of Superman but not Superman one, where you've got a guy whose name is Clark Kent, and he gets taken the piss out of because his parents named him Clark Kent. And something happens where he gets superpowers, and he says, "Okay, well, I'll just be Superman then, because who the fuck would believe it?" And it's like superheroes aren't real, but then something happens, and he goes through and he meets people, he develops a family and has kids, and it's a really, really good story.
The one that I really liked was the Smallville, the TV show.
Oh yeah.
And also the follow-up comic books did a really good job of charactering on, because again, what they had and what made them good compared to a lot of the other Superman crap was character growth.
Yeah, the guy who played Lex Luthor in that, a chap called Michael Rosenbaum, does a really good podcast on YouTube these days. He interviews lots of people. He talks about mental health. He talks about experiences and life, and it's a really good listen.
His portrayal of Lex Luthor was phenomenal, and the kind of good intentions going to bad endings, and that kind of descent into madness across the series was phenomenally well done.
Yeah.
But anyway, so back to Star Wars. Modern Star Wars doesn't have any of that, and that's why it's shite. Mando's got some of that.
He does.
And that's why it's good.
have to leave.
Have to go.
I'm afraid
we're over 11 o'clock. Yeah,
I have to be up very early tomorrow. So
we can carry on talking about more Warhammer stuff next time we get together.
I was going to say you can join us next time on the Grots. We'll be back.
Prompt our conversation or not, as you wish. Thanks for tuning in and listening to us waffle. Hope you got some hobby done. Let us know what you got in the chat or the comments before we shut down and leave off. Otherwise, enjoy your evening and speak to you again soon. Cheers.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Cheers, guys.